You know what I'm saying? You don't have a car dash in this footage. I made that specific. I made sure specifically not to have a damn dash in my shit. So, I mean, you see all this footage out there, and all of it is either on a different time period or it has dashes in it. You know, car dashes, half the screen fill up, this and that. You know what? Let's just make it available. Let's have our own footage show, the real fucking good shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's have it for our community. We're gonna do that. Um, so we're gonna do a hangout tomorrow. We're gonna do a footage show coming up. I might do it tomorrow, maybe Monday night. Let me know in chat what would work best for you guys. I know it's a holiday. Y'all have families and kids and things like that. So if it would work out better tomorrow afternoon, or if it would work out better tomorrow night, Monday night, let me know. I didn't end the episode last night with giving her coffee cups. We're gonna do that here after a bit. We're gonna watch something from Law and Crime first, and then we're gonna get into the press conference Q&As. But I want to watch this Law and Crime video first. So after we do the Law and Crime video, then I'm gonna go ahead and do the coffee cup giveaway. So yeah, let me know when a footage show would work better. We're gonna go through all of it. You're even gonna see. I'm gonna even show you guys. If you guys were here when I went on the trip, and sometimes it was very dangerous because of how foggy it was, where I couldn't even see 5 feet in front of me. I'm going to show that footage too. We're going to show the footage from Coeur d'Alene. We're going to show the footage from out in the outskirts. All of it. We're just going to hang back, and you're going to see good footage without a fucking dash in it filling up half the screen. All right, so we got Silky Southern Tea. She's going to hang out with us tonight. I always love having her on. You know that's true. We're going to have her hang out, and we're going to get into this questions, and it'll probably be a part one. I'm just being honest with you. It'll probably be a part one because that's a lot of fucking press conferences. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. What's up, Silky? How are you doing tonight?
CJ, well, I am sick as a dog.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I'm a little pale and funky looking, but I'm wearing pants, so that's good.
That's good. Well, I'm wearing sweatpants.
So I'm wearing pajama pants, but it counts.
You better
right?
dress. I'm not like the real news people where we wear, you wear shorts under your hoodie or something. I'm wearing actual sweatpants. So I got the sweat outfit going. Say what's up to everybody real quick. Gut feeling number 2. How are you? The golden ticket. Kid Kitty number 5. Katrina number 5. Nina number 7. Freebird number 9. Number 10. Was the first presser day 1 or day 3? It was day 3. Isn't that crazy, Silky? When everything took. Let me turn this music down a little bit. When everything took place, the first presser didn't take place until a few days later. What the hell? You didn't even. Well, the chief wasn't even in town when it happened. But
jeez, I didn't realize that, and I was watching this case.
Yeah. 11/16 was the first press conference that they had 3 days later, because the 13th was the morning, because it happened overnight in the early morning hours of 11/13. The crime took place, so really it was the whole day of the 13th, the whole day of the 14th, the whole day of the 15th, and then in the middle of the day on the 16th is when they had their grand press conference to talk about what took place. Isn't that crazy? 3 days.
Yeah.
You think they would have had one right out front,
Exactly. I mean,
right out in the parking lot.
Yeah, because people wanted answers. I'm sure they were, terrified of what was going on in the community.
It was crazy. One of the first, because when we first started going through our Fresh Notes, Old Notes episode, where I spent one afternoon and I went through my whole Idaho 4 folder from the very beginning, because I've always saved everything in different playlists. And I took a whole afternoon, I think it was about 4 hours, and I went through almost 2,000 some videos, and I cut it down to a couple hundred, because I was like, you know what? We need to go through a lot of this old stuff, whether it was family interviews or what was being pushed out by mainstream media at the time. And I thought it would not only not only help us expose even more of how mainstream media was trying to manipulate everybody's thoughts, but also we could find little teeny nuggets in there that maybe we either forgot or we didn't remember, or we
Yeah.
were looking at it with a different point of view because maybe when we first heard it last November of 2022 or December of 2022, we had a different point of view at that time. And now, knowing everything that we know, I thought maybe it was a good idea to kind of go back as well and look at it with the different point of view. And
Yeah.
it was crazy because one of the first local news stations, it was Creme 2, and the people, the reporter that was standing outside, this was before the police had a press conference, reporter standing outside frustrated that they're not getting any answers, comparing other crimes that had taken place before, where he remembered where Ellie never acted like this. The host, the anchor at the local TV station that transitioned to the guy that was in the parking lot, was visibly frustrated because you could even hear it in his voice how frustrated he was because nobody was getting answers. The guy at the that was reporting from the parking lot was talking to students. Everybody in the community was like, we don't understand, nobody's saying nothing, everything is tight-lipped, why is this even happening, this is a humongous crime, why aren't anybody talking? It was very, from the very beginning, people were like, what, this just is not normal. And
Yeah.
so it didn't, they knew from the get-go shit wasn't normal. What's up, ticket number 12, Kelly Miller? How are you? Typically unique, ticket number 11, Miley, ticket number 13. Do you know of any crimes that you've ever studied or covered where they did not have a press conference? If it was not at where the location was, they had one at their office or somewhere
Um,
and waited 3 days?
no,
I
usually,
don't.
no. I mean, usually, even if it's just short, they'll have something somewhere, to address the immediate, you know, happening.
Right.
So,
Even if you don't have any answers, you still say something took place, please reach
right,
out. Here's the number. We're looking for tips. This is all we can tell you right now. Even with the Soto stuff going on right now, he's not telling you everything.
right.
He's not telling you everything, but you have to understand. But at least they had a damn press conference. They're talking about it. They're giving you updates, even if it isn't an update that suffices you. Uh, it never made sense to me. And then when you see this, because we're not going to be watching the whole press conference tonight in these episodes. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be listening to the Q&As, the questions from the reporters and the responses that they make.
Yeah.
um and so you're going to see on this first one, it's going to be this huge grandstand of all these individuals that are part of the investigation. Now, they did do the smart thing. They realized they were in over their heads in the very beginning and reached out to ISP and FBI. So they did one smart thing, but I don't know. It was just crazy. What's up, Star? Ticket number 14. How are you? Debray, ticket number 16. How are you, Ty? Aaliyah, number 17. Uh-oh. Oh, check this out, Silky. We got Freebird gifting 5 memberships, and
Woo!
I got a special screen now. It is the contribution call out screen where I say thank you, Freebird, for the gifted 5 memberships. Now, it doesn't show on StreamYard who got gifted the memberships, but let me scroll up and I can
Whoop,
read it
whoop.
from my YouTube phone. Pagan Ways, Kelly Ward, Aaliyah, Aquarius, Aaron, Deb also got the gifted memberships. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that.
Hello,
Um,
Velvet.
so you're done using StreamYard?
Yeah, I know part of it is my computer is not strong enough, but I had
Taking
so
that
many
in.
glitches and crashes and stuff. I don't know. And it seemed like that even though I had a good camera, it was just not clear. And so I've gone to EVMux. The only thing I can say about EVMux, and I think Crime Night told me this, When once
Look at you,
you're
man.
okay live, but once you go and it has to process, like the next day it might kind of be blurry a little bit, but then after that it's okay if you watch it like, a day or two later.
Well,
So
that
I mean,
sucks because most of the time people are going to watch your shows in the first 2 days.
yeah,
Hmm.
usually. I don't know. I have a lot on the replay. It depends on my subject matter. Now, Delphi, yes. And if they watch it live, then they're good. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just not as clear as it's gonna be. Um, yeah, Delphi people always watch within the first 2 days. Some of my other cases, no, they get more on the replay way later.
Hmm. Oh, okay. What's up, Dre? How are you? Ticket number 27. Iris, ticket number 25. What's up, Sandy Toes? Mary Burns, ticket number 30. Brooke Nicole, lucky 33 tonight. Thank you so much, Sandy Toes, with the palm tree. Yeah, this
I
video
look
we're going to be
stupid.
watching. Aw, you look okay. You look great. What are you like? What do you get? What do you got? Like the COVID or what? What's
I don't know. I think it's a sinus infection. I'm not really sure. But every time I've had COVID, it always feels like a sinus infection. I don't know. I'm not going to test myself. There's nothing I can do about it. So, I just feel like a fungus.
oh well. Hopefully, you got any kind of like you got medicine or anything or
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I've got medicine, but if I go off for just a few minutes, it's probably because I had a sneezing or coughing fit.
Oh, okay, you're good. No, I think I had a couple. Well, right before I had to make my trip for the holidays. I think I got food poisoning the night before.
No.
Yeah, and I didn't know what it was, but man, I was messed up for a few days. Yeah.
Oh my
But
gosh, that's
I went ahead and went because it was Christmas, you had to go anyway. So I'm like, fuck it.
sure.
I just got to buck up and do it. Fuck it.
I know,
Bianca
that's
ticket
me.
number 42. You never know. You
I
never
mean,
know.
I worked about almost 40 hours in the last 3 days, still being sick as a dog. So
Oh,
today was my first day, and I was like, I really wanted, I miss being on panel with you. I love doing shows with you,
yeah.
but
We
also,
love you.
I don't have the brains right now, the mental capacity to put a show together. So I'm
Yeah,
like, this
I
is
hear you.
great.
I hear you. Because when I got back and I didn't have the brains that morning either, I totally understand what you're saying. Happy New Year's to you and everybody as well, Ghost Printer. What's up, Diana? Ticket number 37.
CJ,
Yeah,
I saw something in the
flipping.
comments. Is your birthday coming up?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's what I was
Yeah,
looking at in the comments. Oh my goodness. Well,
it's
happy
another day.
birthday.
Nah, it's just another day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's another day.
Well, I mean,
It
I
ain't nothing.
know. But it's a day for like presents. And
Nah,
maybe somebody will take you out to dinner.
no, it ain't even about that. It's just you know what you know what I want. I just want a peaceful and positive day. That's it. That's
Wow.
it. That's all I care about. For real, that's it. Like that's it.
Yeah, when you get older, birthdays, so it's like,
What's up,
yeah,
Michigan?
I like presents, I like being taken out to dinner, but I really don't like the getting older part, you know. So,
I never feel like I'm getting older anyway. You know,
well, I don't
I
feel
still
like
feel
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. People shit when I tell them how old I am. They're like, "What? No, shut up." Yeah, no.
same, same.
I mean, hell, I was able to blend in amongst the students when I went to Moscow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have anybody in a truck with flags coming to harass me and shit. It was great. Just had the beefy truck crew a little bit. That was it. What's up, Mishy girl?
Well,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
uh, I mean, the thing of it is the
Take a
good
tip,
part
two.
about getting older is now I realize I am too old to
What's up,
be
though?
trafficked, you know.
Whoa!
So, like they're looking at me like, nah, nah, she's not gonna sell very high.
we just hit the road where it went. You know. All right. What's up,
Okay.
Benefits ticket number? Hey, that happens when we get together on her show or my show. I do it a
Yeah.
lot myself. What's up, Moto? Ticket number 29. Explosive. That ended up taking over a show there for a little bit, and I didn't even mean to do that.
Ah, no, it was great.
Right?
Yeah. We
I know
always
we
have
never
fun.
did come out with all the new side effects, did we? We got to do that sometime.
No.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
we
have
have to
me and
do that.
Silky are gonna have a show where we talk about all the different side effects from the explosive that we do talk about. when
Of
that we
medications,
drink.
yeah.
Had a copy of an email telling him to have a press conference. What? Wow. I'm telling you, the universe, I know it's starting, I know people are starting to talk about it now, about the university's power, the influence and all this other stuff, but shit, we're done past
Wow.
that. We were past that like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Catch up. Catch up. What's up, D Marie? Ticket number 36. How are you? What's up? Let me see here. SM, ticket number 63. Oh, Danny. Oh, thank you. Hold on one second. We got to get that contribution call out. Danny, thank you so much. Thank you. And all for letting me hang here, giving me a smile and giggles finally as I complain. Oh, we're sorry about that. And prayers again. But no, thank you. That's it's about like yeah, I heard some stuff about last night and other nights, and I'm just like, wow, like, yeah, this is a different kind of atmosphere. Kib Kitty, I want to say contribution call out, super chat, stickers, memberships, cash apps, and thank you for your support. For the 5
Whoop,
gifted
whoop.
memberships, let me scoot up and call them out. Gemini, Commercial Zone, Justy, Josie West, and Rach. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Kib Kitty. I appreciate that.
Whoop, whoop,
Long-term
whoop.
effects of Ritalin. Yeah, how about you? We could do
Uh,
a show about the long-term effects of all the medication that they pumped out in the 80s and the 90s and the
mm,
2000s to children and all the side effects. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Instead of trying to diagnose and treat the way that we've always done since we went, oh, fire. Ever since then. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just
Yeah.
pumping pills in people's bodies, and 10 years later there's class action lawsuits if you took a medication, and it's just
Oh, yeah.
when
Yeah.
when it was, oh, fire, it worked out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
I
let me
don't
tell you,
understand.
I mean, you know how that works, right? I
Big
mean,
pharma.
yeah, Big Pharma,
Big
and
pharma.
they have so much invested in their research that even when their research, if they have so many millions and they know that they've got a product that may not be great, it may have serious side effects more than just
Oh,
explosive.
it does.
They what they do is they're like, okay, if we put it on the market at a high price for, let's see, how many years can we get by? 5 years. Can we regain the money that we've lost? Because let's say you've invested $100 million in researching this product to find out in the end, it causes something horrible, like you grow another head, and they're like, well, let's see, we can really market this for 3 to 5 years, charge $200 a pill, and market it good, and then when it starts catching up and like people have all these other heads growing out of their shoulders, then we can pull it off the market, but we've already made our 100 million
It's
back.
like the tobacco company back in the 60s and the 70s,
Yeah.
even into the 80s. They were even pumping out. I just bought me a pack of candy cigarettes the other day.
I used to love
Uh,
those.
yeah, they you know what I mean? Like, and they're all together. The insurance companies, big
Mm-hmm.
pharma, it's everybody, and then the government's in on
Right.
it because it's
Mm-hmm.
all political shit.
They get
Unfortunately,
paid. There's money in
yeah,
that.
it's it's
It's
it's
a
that
racket.
it's the Stetson whiskey group.
Yeah.
Stetson whiskey. Also, the irony here is that to search your channel, it's Evil CG, but there's nothing but positive. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Look at the license plate. This is the Freeze 2024 because the boom. I'm just so desensitized with all the booms, and I get done watching a boom show, and I'm like, I wasted my time. I've already talked about this shit. Catch up, buddy. You know,
Yeah.
it just because we do a lot of work in our time, even for you, Silky, when you're doing work and you're doing prep for your own channel and you want to make
Mhm.
sure, and yeah, some of the research is going in to other YouTube channels that are huge sources, and you think
Yeah.
that it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? So you do
Yeah.
sometimes, even though you do your research on your own with documents and articles and uh, uh, like notebooks and shit. Sometimes you want to kind of go see what somebody else that has way more sources than you is able to come up with. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
uh, and so that half an hour or 45 minutes can really mean a lot in one day's time when when you're doing your own research and stuff. But you also want to see, if there's something maybe you might have missed, kind of shit.
Oh
And when
yeah,
you
absolutely.
continually go and you see somebody asking you to compare two truck window truck to a one truck window truck, and you're like, wait a minute, like
Mhm.
it should be better than that. Why am I what? And then you hear the stuff and it's like boom, 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 like
Yeah.
they're coming out with all this crazy shit. It's true. They're coming out with
Yeah.
all this crazy shit, and then it's like, wait a minute, we this is not even to two truck window to one truck window. What are you talking about, man? You want to
Right.
organize a search for a murder weapon a year later? You wanna talk to people about getting a group together to go stay at 1122 King Property Road as like some kind of gimmick? Maybe that's why they demoed the motherfucker, because they were afraid people were going to do that shit. Maybe that's
Maybe.
why. Maybe they were like, fuck. If people are really considering staying at the house, maybe we do need to fucking demo it. Because they didn't want to
Maybe.
pay for security. They were tired of paying for
Well,
security,
no.
which, give me a break. Come on. You've already talked
Yeah.
about the wages that a security worker makes. They're in a hybrid fucking vehicle that gets great gas mileage. So even if you're leaving it on the whole time, I'm sorry, it's not, you're not paying. You know what I mean. Like with how much the university makes and how much it would cost them to have just that little teeny cube SUV sitting there and paying somebody $15 an hour to sit there
Yeah.
in the fucking vehicle. It ain't that much. You know what I'm saying? When it
Yeah.
comes to the university and
Yeah.
when it comes to the protection of the house. But then if you have people sitting there wanting to get people to go together and fucking go stay at the house, even if it is a joke or a gimmick, maybe that's what told the university, yo, we don't need people fucking breaking in this house because it's not being respectful to the property if you go beyond the crime scene tape. That's why I never went past it, even though there's a piece that was broken off. I still didn't go in that motherfucker. It was out of the
Right.
respect for the property. You know what I'm saying? The victims.
Right.
And if you're going to break in there and you're going to stay there, well, then you're not respecting the property. And maybe that's why they were like, shit, you know what? Fuck this. Maybe, yeah, they need it for the trial. But if we got people that are like wanting to get together to come stay in the house, maybe we just need to demo it because one, we don't need anybody getting hurt because then there's a lawsuit. We don't need anybody getting hurt, whether they have permission to go in or not. You have a lawsuit right there.
Right.
You're breaking and entering. You're entering a zoned off area that's supposed to be secured. There's a lot of things that you'd be breaking, not only respectfully but law wise. And so it's just like, I don't know. I'm just so tired of the boom. It's become so desensitized. Every time I hear the word boom, I just go, ugh. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, where is it?
That's
You
your
know what I mean?
trigger
We
now, so I
we
have to
talked
remember
about this
that.
6 months ago. That's why I came. I got tired of it, Silky. I said, you know what? In 2024, I even got my tag sticker on that license plate right down there at the bottom left. 2024, we're good. We're good until 2024, and so 2024, it's the year of the freeze. I'm just saying. Just gonna start
Freeze.
freezing. Freeze.
Freeze.
Fuck it.
I need
I'm just
something. I
boom
don't know.
desensitized, man. I'm just like,
Yeah.
and it was something like, I don't know, like I'm just like nothing personal, but I used to go to this channel and I used to be like, damn, this really is some boom shit. And then like 3 months and I'm sitting there watching the booms and I'm like, dude, we done talked about this shit like months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wasted a half an hour that I could have spent on an article. It gets
Hey, Fort
frustrating after so many
Pitts.
times. What's up, D Smith? We're freezing.
Good to see you, Fort Pitts.
Oh, Ghost, I appreciate it, but I do have my own t-shirts. We're gonna be having those coming out soon. I'm almost done with the hoodies. What's up, Brandywine? How are you doing? Hope you're doing better. Yeah, I got my own shirts coming, and I got my own freeze. Got my own logos. It's gonna be strictly my own shit. You ain't gonna have no middleman. It's gonna come straight from me. And if you're more than welcome, Silky. I know if you'd ever like to do some, you do great thumbnails and stuff. So if you do logos and stuff, if anybody as well, it's not just going to be a clothesline for me. I'm going to also make clothes for other content creators as well. So if they ever
I'm
want to,
in. I'm
yeah,
in,
if
CJ.
anybody wants to link up, I'm going to have a separate business where I'm just doing clothes. And if any other content creators want to cut out their middlemen and they want to come kick it with CJ, we're going to
Yeah.
do it like that too. So yeah,
Well,
you're more than welcome.
I had made a lot of stuff, and I was planning to make more, and then I got in a situation where that kind of fell through. So now I don't have merch. Actually, somebody, one of my subscribers, bought my merch before I could, and now I can't. So I really need to do that.
Yeah. Even if like I have I can make logos. I've done graphic design for years. It was before I was even making websites 10, 15 years ago and shit for companies and stuff. So I know how to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's another venture I want to go down into is the clothing business. So
Well, I would rather
yeah,
use you,
I can
CJ,
make
because
logos
you
and
know,
everything. Yeah, I
yeah,
can make
I
logos
would
and everything.
rather use you than, I mean, so you could make a profit rather than, some of these other just generic middlemen. I'm all in for
It's
helping you out.
horrible, isn't it? How much they make, the
Yes.
middlemen. Yeah,
I
that's why I went
know.
ahead. That's why I went ahead and got all the shit that I need to do it on my own because I'm like, I can't charge people $45 for a fucking hoodie. You know what
I
I mean?
know. I know. That's
I'm
why
like,
I
no.
haven't put anything out there.
I'm like, no. There's no reason. Like,
Yeah,
and it's not even supporting the show because all the money's going to the clothing company. It's not even
exactly.
supporting the show. So it's like, fuck that. I'm gonna make my own shit, and you
Yeah,
really can truly support the show for
yeah,
real.
yeah. That would
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
just
gonna
let
do it.
me know when you're ready to start because I've already got.
I've already
Uh,
started.
all right.
I've
All right. Well, I'll talk to you
already
in
started.
Discord then.
Yeah, I've already started. I'm
I'll just.
about I'm about 1 week away from getting my first T-shirt printed.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I've
yeah. It was
already
a little
got
late.
a
I was
lot of
yeah,
stuff, a lot of logos, and then I had more ideas that I haven't actually designed yet. So I'm
yeah.
like
We'll
you.
get together.
My notebook is on my phone, um, but I have my T-shirt designs in Evernote. All these things that I want to put.
Well, you can't always have all your eggs in one basket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to have. So I got a couple things going. So we're good. We're gonna have YouTube, clothing, all sorts of stuff.
Cool.
But all right, let's go ahead and get it switched up. We're going to get into this newest Law and Crime episode that they had come out just a little bit ago, talking about the year since the crime, and then after the demo as well. So we're going to get into that, and then we're going to get into. I'm just going to say it's probably going to be part one because with all those pressers, I don't know how we would even be able to get through all of them in one night anyway. So I don't know. Maybe we will, but I kind of doubt it. I love talking too. I know you do too.
I do.
All right. We'll go ahead and get it switched up and we'll get it started. Thank you all for hanging out. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. It's the free way to help. Trust me, I'm going to have bumper stickers coming up because it's one thing I've wanted for a year. And I'm about to have those too. Bumper stickers, baby. All right. Let's go ahead and get it switched up and we'll get it started. Thank you all for hanging out. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. It's the free way to help. Trust me, I'm going to have bumper stickers coming up because it's one thing I've wanted for a year. And I'm about to have those too. Bumper stickers, baby.
Community is healing. Community is how we carry on together.
It was a crime that rocked a small college town and captured the attention of the world.
This horrible crime has affected all of us.
4 University of Idaho students murdered in a house near campus.
These girls were absolutely beautiful. They've been friends since 6th grade. It's a shame, and it hurts.
Some feared the murders of Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle would never be solved. Who would want to hurt these 4 students sleeping in their house? The answer, police would later say, was this man.
This is State of Idaho versus Brian C. Kohlberger.
Brian Kohlberger, a PhD student in criminology who lived 10 miles away. But why? That's just one of so many questions that remain more than 1 year later as we remember the 4 Idaho students taken too soon.
Uh-oh, Silky, where'd you go? Oh, there she is. Oh, everything
Sorry.
okay?
I'm over here wilding, I guess. I was just I forgot how to use StreamYard.
Okay.
I wanted to pull
I'm
my
like-
chair up and I didn't want it to make a noise.
All right, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't know if the music scared you or what. I didn't know what
No,
happened.
I love the music. It's the bomb.
All right. Double Kohlberger with cheese.
I'm Anjanette Levy. Thank you for joining us as we remember the 4 University of Idaho students senselessly murdered in Moscow, Idaho, more than a year ago. It's been 1 year since police made an arrest in the case. Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle had their entire lives ahead of them. But on November 13th, 2022, their lives were taken, police say, by this man, Brian Kohlberger, a criminology PhD student who lived 10 miles away across the Washington state line in Pullman. As we look back a year later, we want to remember the 4 victims by telling you who they were, what we know about the investigation, the evidence, and what lies ahead.
No matter where you find yourself tonight, the Vandal family is here. And on this day, across all of Idaho, we are all Vandals.
Students, fellow classmates of Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle.
You know, I just have to pause it real quick because that's what I was at the vigil, okay? Right here in this, what they're filming. When I went there on my trip, one of the main things I wanted to do was be amongst the students in the community for this vigil here for the victims, because I've covered the case from the beginning. It's something that was important for me to be there no matter what, even if I had to drive through crazy ass fucking fog because it was halfway raining and shit, and it was kind of sprinkling there that night too. It was very cold, it was wet, very dark. And that's one of the things. That was the same night that, you know, the beefy truck crew kept driving around me as I was walking back to the vehicle. This right here, this doesn't, it felt darker than that. It really did when I was there. It seemed very dark and creepy, and I didn't understand it. It was on the administrative lawn. It was, I don't know, it just seemed really dark. I was there when they were all talking. It was a very creepy feeling. It was very dark. It was a very, very creepy feeling.
I would think there would be a lot of heaviness, you know, over that area. Just because, you know.
Oh, it was. I mean, not as much when you were, because you don't, I'm just speaking up for myself. I didn't feel the heaviness until I hit Taylor and then King and Queen Road. I didn't feel the heaviness until then. I didn't feel the heaviness here because I was around the university as well for that week. Different parts of the university and such at that university and at Washington State. But at this one, even when I was at this administrative lawn before, because that was one of the first places I went to was the Kibbe Dome, and then circled around by the administrative lawn. I didn't really feel it then either, but I'm telling you, when I was at this vigil, you definitely felt it. But the thing that really, really stuck out to me was like the community's still kind of scared. There's a lot of people getting together in one large group, a lot of people, adults, children, you know, a whole community as well amongst the students. And there was barely any lighting. How are you going to see what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
You know, that was one of the things to me. It was like, man, it is, because it's already so dark there as it is, even with street lights and building lights and all that stuff. It's when you have the moisture in the air mixed with the cold, it creates like this hazy, and it dims the lighting in the actual you know, it dims the lighting in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it. You know, the cold and the mist, and it just, what would normally be a bright light, you would think that would illuminate a city more, is actually doled out from it. Very, very I don't know how to explain it beyond that. So that was one of the things that stuck out to me with this here at this vigil, was that, I mean, and you can see it right here, just how dark. Now, when they showed the people speaking, it didn't even seem like it was that bright. So it almost makes me feel like when they recorded this, they had some kind of filter on it that brightened up the image so you could see it better, because it was a lot darker than what, to me, in real life, than what Lawn Crime even. So I'm just thinking they maybe had to have had a filter. Oh, Brandywine, thank you so much. Hold on one second. Contribution call out. Thank you for the 5 months of membership. Justice for Maddie, Zaina, Kaylee, and Ethan. Appreciate that. Yeah, it was just very dark, and where, yeah, there was, even every night that I was there, that's one of the reasons, like, you know, being there in an exact year to when everything took place, you're gonna have the same activity at the same hours of the night. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be a month later where maybe some people ain't out as much, or there's snow on the ground, or it's a different daylight time, you know, because from November to December it gets darker at a different time. So that was one of the main things with going there, that I'll always stand on when it comes to anybody's footage or photography or experience, is that I was there exactly the year later. It wasn't any other time period. You're getting the exact image of what it was the year before.
Yeah. Wow.
48 in Marion County.
That's
I'm not
cool.
sure about that. When I went there, I was there because, you know, when I did the footage, I got footage there. I was at his apartment for 3 days out of the 7 that I was there. And they know when a vehicle isn't normally, it's weird. It's the parking lot is tucked back in a spot that you can't even see it if you're driving by the road that goes by it. It's tucked back in. So whenever some people probably just don't go back there for any reason. And so, you know, on the 3rd day, there was a lot of people there that were kind of uncomfortable, I guess. I don't know. But I wasn't doing anything. I just know that a lot of people on that 3rd day started to be like, huh? They just kept, you know, the little side eye shit. But I'm like, hey, I got to do work. I'm not bothering you. I'm here to get footage.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you did, because, you know, I think it helps a lot when you see, and especially the way that you drove around and the town, because you're kind of limited in what you see with the news. You know, they just do certain streets. They're not like just driving around, so you get the feel of, you know, the community like you did.
Yeah, and I made sure that half the car dash wasn't in my camera view either. You know, I was, you know what I mean? Like,
I hate that. hate that.
Like, come on, man. Like, what? Like, scoot it up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
No, I think about the shit ahead of time. That's why. It's all straight up full screen, except for maybe a teeny sliver at the bottom that has a little bit of that. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into this. I swear they have a filter on this to brighten it up or something.
Came together on a lawn at the school in Moscow this past November 13th to remember their friends 1 year later.
It probably is.
Bright person. She had a bright smile. She had a bright future. Maddie was bright. She was bright in every way that a person could be. Maddie was the kind of person that made sure everyone felt welcomed.
Well, I'll tell you right now, and you'll see it on the footage, and I'll even show you some pictures tonight as well. There wasn't very many cars where his apartment was, so I highly doubt that anybody. There's probably a couple fucking apartments that are empty over there. Probably, I don't know though. I never looked in the window or anything.
And cared for. It was nearly impossible to not be smiling when you were around her. I am reminded every day to live like Kaylee would.
It was a lot darker.
Be more
than
spontaneous, stop and take pictures, be loud, laugh loud, and love hard. May we all work hard to be more like Kaylee.
The students also want to try to start the difficult process of healing as they grieve the loss of their friends.
A beautiful aura followed her everywhere she went. There was always a smile on her face. She was a very contagious person. Xana was one of those people that you could not possibly be sad around. She made friends feel unapologetic for being themselves.
He so effortlessly put anyone and everyone around him in a good mood. These traits are something I strive to obtain every single day.
A little more than a year ago, on November 12th, 2022, everything seemed normal in Moscow, Idaho. The leaves were changing colors. It was nearly a perfect warm fall day. Students Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin posed for a photo with two roommates before the big football game.
Back to the formation. Vandals return to the Big Sky.
And that's his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Later that night, Xana and Ethan went to a party at his fraternity, Sigma Chi, just a few blocks from the home where she lived with Maddie, Kaylee, and two other young female students.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I think I would like the carbonara.
That night, a Twitch video from the Grub Truck recorded Kaylee and Maddie ordering food around 1:30 a.m. after hanging out at the Corner Club bar.
Cool. Thank you.
Maddie and Kaylee hung out for a few minutes, doing what college kids do, looking at Kaylee's phone, at one point taking a selfie. Minutes later, the lifelong friends walked away, a guy in a white hoodie trailing behind. Kaylee and Maddie took a rideshare home. The driver told me he had driven Kaylee, Maddie, and Xana home many times. He said they were all nice, happy, friendly girls. That morning, he dropped off Kaylee and Maddie just before 2 a.m. Police would later say Xana received a food delivery at 4 a.m. and her phone showed she was on TikTok at 4:12 a.m. A short time after that, Moscow police believe Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, and Xana were attacked and killed. Hours later, two roommates awoke. Then came a call to 911, and the home on King Road that had been the scene of so many parties became a crime scene.
We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the four victims, determined the cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all four victims were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault.
Based on details at the scene, we believe this was an isolated, targeted attack on our victims.
The brutality of this crime in this small college town of 25,000 was unbelievable.
It was so scary. We were just like, who could have done this? So yeah, it was a lot of fear. It was so sad. And then you saw the photos of those beautiful young people over and over and over again.
Cindy Hollenbeck lives in Pullman, Washington nearby and has 2 college-age children.
This is a place where we don't lock our doors, and I started locking, checking every single night. I was in so much fear.
People around the state of Idaho started following the story, and then around the world.
It was so senseless. These young adults were in the prime of their lives, and that last photo that has made kind of rounds of all of them smiling and standing outside really, I think, sticks in people's minds as well, and we're all still grieving the loss.
But who would stab these 4 students, and why? Stabbing is such a personal crime, and
you have to be so close to do it.
Yeah, this part right here. And this picture always gets me. You know what I'm saying? You when you watch the video of them going in and out with not the proper equipment, it's something that I've preached about since the fucking beginning of this damn case.
It's beyond, it's beyond my comprehension, CJ, how law enforcement people could do that. I mean, come on.
They don't have where they're not thinking. And it's because they're so used to fucking noise complaints.
I mean, I guess, but come
That
on.
they're not-
Don't they ever watch CSI or they don't ever watch any shows on TV? I think almost everybody knows. I mean, anybody who follows true crime knows that you don't disturb the crime scene. It's all evidence. How do they not know?
It don't make sense to me. It never has. It never has. And I hate this picture. It just, every time I see it, because you see the dude with the mustache, I saw his ass when I was there.
Really?
You just see, there's a couple of Rosenthal, a couple of them, but I didn't get pulled over. like Gray Hughes. I didn't get pulled over like Gray Hughes in the middle of my route. In the middle of my PCA route. He was recording his PCA route.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
With half a dash in the screen. He was recording his PCA route with half a dash in the screen, and he ended up getting pulled over because he didn't know how to do a stop sign.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you look at my footage. I ain't trying to get pulled over, yo. I might have even hung out at that stop sign a little extra. I ain't fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Duh, you go extra, you don't go less, especially in a small ass town, because they're waiting for you to roll through that fucking thing. You could still be moving just a teeny inch or something. They're like, well, nope, you rolled through it. Woo, nope. Now if I stopped, all right, I better have a light out or something.
Yeah.
You better have a reason. So.
Right.
No, that's just hilarious.
I mean, I've always said if I go to Delphi, nobody's going to recognize me. I'm going to have some of those, those rubber face thing. I'm going to look completely different. I'm going to be so under the radar that you will never. The only thing I can't do is I can't speak. So, because people will recognize my voice and my accent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm going to have to fake, laryngitis. Just
I can't talk too much right now.
Yeah.
I
not laugh. I can't laugh at all.
I don't know. I guess just get a flannel, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have those prosthetics. That's the word I was looking for. Those rubber latex prosthetics that people put on. You will never recognize me.
Yeah, and they'll be like, we don't even want to talk to her. So then you don't even. So then you don't even have to say anything. That's a good idea.
Maybe I could just disguise myself as somebody who is collecting money for something. Maybe carry a Salvation Army bucket or something. And everybody's just running the other way.
Hey, not all of them are homeless. I'm not gonna lie. There's people that I worked with that would even brag of about when they were getting done on their shift. They had this little outfit that they put on. They'd be driving a Cadillac and shit. Yeah.
Oh my
The little
God.
outfit they put on, they never shaved, even though they worked for a
Yeah.
well-respected organization. They never shaved and just said that, well, it's for Christmas. But no, like it was to give off that bummy look. So then when they put on their outfit, parked their Cadillac a couple blocks down, and he would brag, I make more money doing that than I do working here. I'm like, dude, that's so wrong. That's so fucking wrong, dude.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
it's so wrong. The karma is not good.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot of those exposés of the cameras following people around that are doing that. And I don't give at those like at the stoplight unless there's a bunch of people and they're all doing it, because they do that a lot here. They'll have like one Saturday a certain group will get together, but there's like a lot of them. And they're all wearing the same t-shirts and all that. And I feel like that's probably not just a grifter. But, yeah, these people that say we'll work for food, I just don't. And I feel bad because I'm like, what if they really need it? But, they probably have more money than I do, honestly.
You never know. You never know. I don't know. It's just bad karma if you're in a position you don't need to do it and you're doing it like that. I didn't know that somebody came after him at Linda Lane. That's why I was cool. I just dressed up as a student, looked like a student. Everybody talked to me like I was a damn student. It was great.
Cool.
I didn't worry about any. Yeah. That's crazy though. I didn't know that people went after him at Linda Lane. Still can't believe forensics on TV cameras dropped their clean plastic glove or even sneezed or even any of that shit. Remember? We saw them. It was just, even when they were taking pictures up inside through the windows, there's the lady that was taking a photo of DM's room, like stepped back, and that was right over where the fucking latent shoe print was at, Like the female that was taking photos of DM's room literally stepped back while the guy was in the fucking hallway entrance between the second floor living room and in front of the little entranceway where it drops. He was standing there, and it's like, yo, that's a fucking crime scene, man. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I cannot fathom, CJ, that anybody could be that dumb. I really can't even fathom.
Because they walked around like they were big time. You watch these body cams and they're all cocky and they fucking, they all know what they're fucking doing and they're cocky and, it's this intimidation shit that they have. And then when something real life fucking happens, when, it's, you're not just going there to rank up quick off of no reports. Then all of a sudden something big happens and you're like, fuck, you were already in over your head before the event even took place because you weren't prepared before it even happened. It was obvious. And that's exactly what took place. It was a town where it was just noise complaints and intimidation tactics. And then something real life happened, something that they had to, something really happened that they really, it's like when somebody signs up, for the fucking army because they just want to sign up for it. And then all of a sudden a war happens a year later, Some of them people ain't prepared for that shit. They just signed up just to sign up. They didn't sign up for what comes along with it. So
right. And I mean, I get that to a certain extent, but again, I think common sense. Don't they get any training on this? And if they were not trained at all on how to handle a crime scene, then why didn't they just stop and say, hey, let's let somebody else come in here who knows what they're doing?
Because ego.
Oh yeah, well,
ego.
Yeah.
There was ego floating all over that fucking town with the intimidation and the way that they treated these students. It was ego. So yeah, they're gonna walk in there. Yeah, we can handle this. And then they really quickly found out, oh shit, This is way over our heads. And nobody
Yeah.
had any kind of communication because the chief was on vacation in a spot where you had no cell signal.
Jeez.
There was no communication, no organization. It all went to shit. And then they're trying to, even the community. We'll go through some of these, when we get to these Q&As here. Even when you're listening to some of them, you can tell all of the confusion that was going on. And then you can tell how they were sometimes getting attacked for not doing what they should be doing. So this lady said, go ahead.
I get it, and I really do get the ego part. But now here's the problem, CJ. If you have so many people that are trampling on here, I mean, what if
there already were?
On? Yeah. Well, yeah.
Before they even showed up, there was students trampling all over it.
So how can they? I understand that they've got, some skin cells from Brian Kohberger, and I'm not saying that he is or isn't guilty, but what I'm saying is, with so many people trampling through there, including the police, how can you be sure that there wasn't some more important DNA or something else that you never found because you're contaminating the crime scene?
Well, they get the DNA from all the people that were there. Now, the interesting thing is how can you exclude DNA if you because when we go through these press conference Q&As, they're gonna ask them how many people were there. We're still not sure. So how can you collect everybody's DNA to exclude everybody if you don't even know how many are sure? When you listen, when we get to more of this law and crime, you'll hear some of the students talk about the experiences and stuff. This part that's going to be coming up here, this is a lady and this is very important too, because this is somebody that's going to be talking about when it comes to the type of crime, this is where this type of crime comes from. And so I know a lot of people don't, I didn't even think the whole incel shit was real until I went out there, and then I parked there and I was like, oh shit. Yeah, this is what this dude. And then I just started going, okay, he probably lived there. He just came home here every night. He was going home alone. He got tired of it. He was already alone for 2 years because of COVID. Now he's home alone at a college when he's supposed to be having fun. There's no more COVID. He's not, he's still coming home alone, and he's continuing to see this great time in front of his face every single time he's going home when he just wants to go home. So,
well, that's the thing.
It's an intimate crime.
Yeah, I mean, and you can ask and exclude DNA, ask who was there, but what if the actual perpetrator was there and he said he was there? But I mean, you've got BK over here, and if let's say it was an incel across the street or beside or whatever, and they're in there, like, look, how you gonna ever tie him to the crime? You can't.
We'll see what happens. I mean, the PCA is only it's only a little bit. Now, according to Steve G, but this is what they're telling everybody. We have so much. Well, I can't wait for this trial because I'm ready to see how much. Because I don't care. Yeah. I just want the right person. I don't care if it is BK. If it is BK, hey, I just want the right person, because then the family can get to that phase where it's after trial. We can now continue the last phase, which is moving on without our loved one, without the trial hanging over our head, without all these questions and things, because they're in that spot right now where they can't even move on. It's up to the trial for them to move on, and I think maybe that's why the Chapins are kind of like, when it comes to the house, we don't, sure, let's have it demoed for the community. I think that's what they're doing, is they're just wanting to speed up the process because, who knows what they're going through. Like, maybe it is such a hard time for them, even harder that they know they can't handle it, and so that's why they're distancing themselves, because they know if they try and take on that part of it, then they know that we already know that we're in a compromising place for whatever, that if we went down that road, then it could be worse than ticket number 84. Thank you. But what this lady says is very interesting about the intimacy of this crime. So if you listen to what I said about the incel theory from Queen Road Apartments, coming home, wasn't even there initially to maybe even commit a crime like that, but it gradually became an obsession and an irritation at the same time.
Psychiatrist who has followed the case. She tried to figure out what could motivate someone to attack Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, and Xana in their home in the middle of the night and stabbing all four in possibly a short amount of time.
I also have to wonder, when someone does something like this and it's so brutal, how much of a sexual undertone it has to it and what kind of sexual pleasure he got from performing this.
As the days and weeks passed, it seemed as if police had little to go on. It would be a daunting task, trying to figure out who killed the four students. The house where the murders happened was on Greek Row, just off campus.
Not a lot of cars, a ton of foot traffic. A lot of students like to live over here and then just walk to classes.
Max Kime lived directly across the street from the house on King Road and spoke to police several times. The officers asked Kime about noise coming from the house.
Lots of partying going on in Moscow, Idaho. So if there was a lot of yelling and screaming, I'm sure I slept right through it, because there always is. And that was the best I could tell any officers.
Days after the murders, family and friends of Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Xana gathered to pray and to remember them.
Maddie May, she was the first grandkid of any of her grandparents. She was Karen and
it was so dark.
My only child that we ever had.
Maddie Mogan's father, Ben, said she was a hard worker who made the dean's list every semester. Her family said she loved anything pink and sparkly, and she was loved.
And she was just such a great kid, such a perfect little baby, and so just smart and funny and beautiful.
Maddie was a member of the Pi Beta Phi sorority, where she had many friends who loved her.
She was easily the best person that I knew. She loved everyone around her more than life. She loved her mom. She always told me, "Don't you think my mom's so cute and so pretty?"
Kaylee's parents also took the stage to talk about her and Maddie.
I want everyone to know these girls were absolutely beautiful. They've been friends since 6th grade. So then they went to high schools together. Then they started looking at colleges. They came here together. They eventually get into the same apartment together. And in the end, they died together in the same room, in the same bed.
Ethan Chapin was a triplet. His siblings, Maisie and Hunter, attended the University of Idaho with him. His mother, Stacy, talking about the memories the family shared.
We surfed and spent countless hours in our boat listening to country music, which was Ethan's most favorite thing in the whole world. We hiked. Typically, the kids did that reluctantly, I'll admit.
Hi, my name is Xana Kernodle.
Xana Kernodle was Ethan Chapin's girlfriend and a roommate of Maddie and Kaylee. Like Ethan, she was only 20 years old. She was majoring in marketing. By all accounts, Ethan was Xana's first boyfriend.
He had such an infectious smile and a charismatic personality. And if you knew anything about Xana as well, they were very similar in how they acted together.
Gripped with fear, many students went home to finish the semester online. Others stayed in their dorms, going to class
Listen
on
to
Zoom.
this.
Was a person capable of killing 4 people, walking among them? Who was it? And would he ever be found? There were just too many questions unanswered for anyone to feel truly safe. Coming up, inside the search for a killer and how police say they tracked down the man who murdered 4 students with a retired FBI agent and a death investigator. You are watching Law and Crime. The house on King Road had gone from a happy place with a good vibe sign hanging on the wall where college.
I want to share something real quick.
The house on King Road had gone from.
Okay. I'm going to zoom in here real quick and I want to show you guys something since we have this view here. Let me go full screen. All right. So when it comes to. What's up, Donald? So yesterday there was a question. How long would it take, or the day that morning, either last night or the morning? There's a question. How long would it take to get from that car where you parked to the back sliding glass door? So if you see where this car is parked right here, where if you can see the word year, see this car that's parked right there where you can see the word year. All right. I was parked right in that spot right there. Okay. Whenever I took my footage and you see me back there, that's in the spot that I always parked, right by that big tree sticking up. So whenever you see that big tree right there and you see the big tree where I'm parked, you'll see that big tree is off to the left of wherever I park. So that where that car is parked, that's where I parked every single time. So it literally, see how you come off to the right and there's like an opening where there's this obvious clear tree compared to the other trees off to the side. Actually, let me take a screenshot and I will be able to zoom it in. Hold on.
Police say they tracked down the man who murdered 4 students with a retired FBI agent and a death investigator. You are watching Law and Crime.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to get a screenshot.
The house on King Road had gone from a happy place with a good vibe sign hanging on the wall where college.
All right. Let me pause it here. And this is important when it comes to even any of the footage that I'm talking about when I show it. This is actually a really good shot here. Okay. So let me stop this. Present this. All right. So right here is where I'd be parked. All right. And this is so perfect of a picture to show you guys when it comes to where I say they could have been just sitting there chilling, waiting, watching inside the sliding glass doors, and you can see the second floor living room. You could see if somebody's, by how they're walking, if somebody's going to be walking upstairs. You can see if somebody went to DM's room, because you would see if the door was shut or open, or if somebody's walking in that direction to go into that room, because you walk differently if you're going into the room instead of if you're going up to the stairs. You could have literally looked right in Kaylee's room from the sliding glass door, and you could have looked all the way through to where you seen her door to get into her room. Okay. And I'm going to also knock a couple other things out here too. Look. Right here. There was that hole, okay? There was that hole right there. I'm going to knock this shit out because I'm tired of hearing this too. There was a hole right here. That was not a freaking crawl space, because that hole was still located in Kaylee's freaking room underneath the window. And when you're in her room, you see nothing but a piece of drywall over the spot that used to be the frame for a window. It's not any kind of air duct system, because you're not going to be pushing air and the final spot goes into a piece of drywall, okay?
Right.
It's not going to happen. It's not an air duct. It's not a secret cubby hole. It was an old frame for a frickin' window before they did the renovation, and they just cut a corner and went cheap and didn't put a piece of plywood over it like they should have. They just put a piece of drywall over it. End of story. Who is it? No. Dude, there's no secret passage. Okay, so when it comes to here, and I'm parked at this vehicle, it ain't. See, there's this cleaned up, this area right here that's kind of cleared out. Okay? So when you're parked here, and I'm showing you the footage, and I'll show you the footage here. I'll throw this video up in a second. When you're parked here, literally, see, you know how I always told you if you go to the left, you could literally hide in these bushes and nobody would see you. I compare it when I'm showing my footage. I compare the bushes on the left and how I only have to take a couple steps to the left, and I'm in those bushes. So literally, I get out of the vehicle, I take a couple steps to the left, I'm in these bushes. When you're standing here in these bushes, you can literally look into the sliding glass door. You can see her bedroom, because I walked over where this vehicle's at, and I took some photos as well. I took photos of down here, over here. I took photos of the slab. I took a lot of other photos. So you can literally walk down this area and go right to the frickin' sliding glass door, no problem. Couple steps, 15, 20 seconds, you're at the sliding glass door. All right? Really, if you're in your car, you take a couple steps, you're chilling in the trees, and you can see everything going in. So this is a great picture because I'm showing you about this freaking stupid old frame for a window that's not some kind of passage or a duct or whatever. And it's a good vantage point to show you how little you can even see and how much brush there is right there. So you could literally just be hanging out in that parking lot, chilling in these bushes, or even in your car, and nobody is going to be none the wiser, because you can literally see down here, you can see Taylor, you can see Sigma Chi, you can see King Road, Queen Road, all from this location right there.
You know, I always, in the beginning, before they arrested Koberger, I don't know why, CJ, when they would show pictures of that house, I don't know. I felt like somebody was in those trees watching right before they went in. Now, I mean, I could be full of crap, but that was just my thought. You know, I thought, I bet they were standing right there looking into that house.
Yeah, and I even think, what's up, Yoli? And I even said, not even that I think that was the one night that, because that's been reported, that's the one night where they didn't have any activity. There was no activity going on in the house. It was quiet. They had a party the night before. A lot of activity. There was always a lot of activity. You heard from that student or one of the neighbors saying it was always loud. So I would have slept through it anyway. Yeah. But when it comes to all the activity that was going on, that was one night that nothing was happening. And so who's to say that the person that was living at Queen Road Apartments that came home that night expecting to see activity going on and saw that there was nothing going on at the house and then said to themselves, tonight's the night, and went right up into what they already had prepared, because they were just waiting for that first night where there was no activity.
Yeah.
Because that's another odd thing. It happened on a night where there was nothing happening, when usually, just like that neighbor guy saying, there was something always going on. What's up, Amy? Ticket number 87. Is it not going to show it? There we go.
I don't remember what ticket number I was, so sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
Hi, Silky.
Hey there,
How are you, Yoli?
I'm all right. I'm hoping everybody has their body parts.
I know. That was a great show. We talked about, I don't know if you got to catch any of it, CJ, but We were talking about missing body parts in a case that Yoli was involved in. It was so cool. We're going to talk about body parts again.
Well, you had that one kid that was stuffed with newspapers.
Yes. I'm trying to get my my head together. I am so sick right now. I'm going to have to go get some tissue in just a minute. But yeah, I don't have the brain capacity to put together a show. But yeah, definitely Kendrick Johnson is a case that we're going to be looking at, which is still unsolved too. So there you go.
Never heard of it. Kendrick Johnson.
Yeah, stuffed with newspapers.
Wow.
Body parts missing.
That's gross.
Yeah.
That's gross.
And crime.
Yuck. That's weird.
The house on King Road had gone from a happy place with a good vibes sign hanging on the wall where college kids made memories to a horrific crime scene in a matter of hours, maybe even minutes.
The four were stabbed with a knife, but no weapon has been located at this time. There was no sign of forced entry into the residence.
The Moscow Police Department, with just 36 officers, had an overwhelming task ahead of them as they tried to figure out who killed Maddie Mogan, Kelly Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. So where do police begin?
This actual slaughter that took place. So it is a huge, huge undertaking.
Veteran forensic death investigator Joseph Scott Morgan has followed the murders in Idaho closely from the beginning. Morgan describes the challenges of investigating the 3-story house on King Road.
For anybody that's had a collegiate experience where there's off-campus housing involved, many times there's an open-door policy, particularly if you've got multiple roommates.
Hey guys, Moscow PD. Hey, turn the music down.
The door appeared to always be open at all times at the house on King Road.
Hello, miss. What's your name?
Xana.
Xana, do you live here?
Yes.
The house where Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie lived with their 2 roommates was a popular party house.
How are you?
After the murders, several body camera videos from Moscow police surfaced, showing officers went to King Road several times after neighbors called, complaining about noise coming from the house.
We're only here for a noise complaint. Come to the damn door.
Kaylee Gonsalves spoke to the officers nearly 3 months before she, Maddie, Ethan, and Xana were murdered.
You know why we're here?
And I assume noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Because this is such an involved scene, and I don't know if I can impress upon viewers how extensive this thing is. When you're talking about a multi-story dwelling.
Morgan says the 3-story house was like a petri dish when it comes to DNA and other vital evidence that could point to a suspect or suspects.
And you might have, parties and get-togethers all together, but then you have these collections of people that are coming in, and of course they're depositing everything that they bring from outside with them.
All over DNA. All over.
So it's not just to the exclusion of that individual's personal DNA. Anything else relative to trace evidence, you begin to think about hair, fiber, footprints.
That fact alone could make collecting evidence a challenge, and later trying to make sense of it once results come in from the lab. Morgan says the crime scene includes more than just the house where the students were killed.
You're talking about a neighborhood where you have people that are domiciled immediately adjacent to this standalone structure. Everything must be considered.
Couple the complexity of the crime scene with the fact that the quadruple murder happened in a city with a small police department that doesn't investigate many murders, and you could run into some real problems.
Crime knows no boundaries.
Yeah, okay, buddy. And that's the thing, like when all that different evidence that was being scattered all over the place, or not evidence, but DNA, even stuff from outside, then you mix that with them going in there, contaminating it themselves too, without the proper equipment, some of them. And then when it comes to the collection, it's it just leaves it, and you don't even know days later in your first press conference, and even after that, you don't even know how many students were there. So, like, how do you even, when it comes to excluding, right? Because you're going to have all this DNA there. There's people's DNA that you don't know whose DNA is what until you get the DNA from them to exclude them. So when you don't even know how many people were even there, how do you even know that you have all the DNA to exclude them? There's got to be, to have all of those people there. This is what doesn't make sense to me. To have all of those people there, all of those people coming in and out, you don't know. When you hear one of these students talk about classes, he said, and he tells you straight up, at least half of them didn't come back because they did the online shit. So you know that there's half of the people gone that you probably didn't even get a chance to talk to or test. That could have been in that house. And when Joseph Scott's talking about this open door policy, and you even see on these body cams, there's people answering the doors. Oh, nobody lives. Whoever lives here is not here. You know, like how many times do you hear that? And all of these people coming in and out. Like, I'm surprised that there's only 3 other male DNA that they don't fucking know about besides Koberger to them. I'm surprised there's not more than 3 with the way that, you know, open door policy, contamination before, contamination after, and you don't even know how many people were even there. So how do you know you interviewed everybody?
No, and you know, the question that the defense attorney would ask is, how is it that you came to discern that there was DNA here? Like, why, like the other 3 unidentified people who left DNA, like, where did you find it? Like, how did you discern to look there? Like, wasn't there DNA all over the house? I mean, wasn't there DNA on the cups, the silverware that was left there that was not cleaned? Like, how did you know what to focus on? And I really don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't know how you would get an answer. You know what I mean?
No, and I think you're
they're not
right,
gonna answer.
CJ. You know, I'm sorry. You know me. You're right about all the people that finished online because of all this. Yeah, if I were going to commit a crime like that and I were a student, I would definitely leave campus and go online. Yeah, I would stay the heck away from there.
Fuck yeah. Especially when they don't even give you a license plate, a picture of the car, or they let the families come out with a reward because they were trying to come out with a reward before the semester was coming back. So when you don't even, like, that's one of the things that just pissed me off back then was like, dude, if this happened in my community, why would you tell a family member, no, don't make a reward, you can't have a reward? Why would you tell any family member, regardless of what crime it is, even if it was whatever, the smallest thing you can think of? If the family wants to put up a fucking reward, you let them put up a fucking reward, no? I mean, who cares what happened? If they want to, why would you stop them? No, let's not reach out for help. You're as shady as Scott Peterson, man. Scott Peterson sitting there talking to his girlfriend while he's supposedly looking for his wife in the fucking headquarters, you know?
Yeah.
Or pretending to be interested in helping out or whatever, but he's just trying to be deflecting.
Right.
Don't take no pictures. No, we're not going to do this. No, we're not going to do this. Even though that it would have helped try and find his wife.
Right.
Like, so why are you acting like Scott Peterson, Moscow PD? Like, what the fuck's going on? That's sketch. What's up, Angel? How are you?
mean, really, there's so many.
Yeah, it was known for decades.
You know, really, there's so many people that have been in and out that it would have been, in my opinion, I mean, what if Brian Koberger says, yeah, I was there at a party a few days before, you know, whatever. I didn't have my phone on me, you know, I left my phone at home, forgot, you know, and then I touched a lot of people. There was a lot of people in there. That's how my DNA got on the sheath. I mean, you don't know. I mean, there's just too many ifs and too many people in and out. I mean, I think it's going to be hard.
For sure. I don't know how they, it just don't, to say, I don't know. I mean, I praise the LE. There's shows on here where shit, when they're on Halloween, they were going door to door, making sure that SAs were where they said they were and all that shit. You know what I mean? And then reminding them, don't be having your porch light on, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I applauded the shit out of that. Different things like that, I will definitely highlight. But damn, when it comes to the secrecy and the quietness, you look at anything else that goes on in any of these other cases. Does the LE act like this? Fuck no. Send me some that do, you know. And for all the people that say that tunnels do exist, because I keep send me pictures, because I showed you guys pictures of the fucking tunnels not existing. Send me a picture of a tunnel in the foundation, and then maybe I'll change my mind. You out of your damn mind. Next.
I just
You
want
got no
to.
picture.
I just
What's
want to say something about the tunnels.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just give me a picture. You know what I'm saying?
didn't-
Please.
I never understood the tunnels, but there isn't even a link to the crimes to the tunnels. I don't understand. Like, the link that I have in my head that would make sense is if there were tunnels and the unalivers left and came in through there, but
That's what
not
they're
even
claiming.
saying- well, no.
No, that's what the people that talk about the tunnels are claiming, and that's why they're talking about the tunnels.
It's nonsensical because
They're saying that's how the person committed the crime without LE knowing where they left.
no, because there's a bunch of dirt.
I know. Hey, you got to get a torch. You got to get a torch to go through the underground dirt tunnel that's dug, before you get to the steam pipe. And then you gotta turn the wheel and hope it didn't lock up, and you gotta turn that wheel and then you get in through the little entrance there. And there's no way to shut it from the inside, so you need somebody from the outside to shut it for you. Give me a break.
Anyway, I don't know.
Right. It's because they're worried about water. They do not have a water source, and that's how I showed you the University of Idaho video where they explain why they're doing what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how much it saves them. It's a water source. The steam is actually a water source where they create water based off of burning the ash and coal that they get donated to them.
I don't know. That window,
and it's part of the university. So.
That little hole, that window, it looked like one of those old school windows that you move up and down. You push it up and down. Those.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it looked like an old frame for a window. And when they did the demo, they just threw a piece of fucking drywall over the spot. I mean, that's. Where's if you're gonna tell me there's a crawl space in Zaina and Ethan's room, then show me the fucking roof that has the crawl space. You know what I mean? Like, give me a break. No, when you look at the picture, you can see it's right under her window. You look right under the window in the room, and there's no cubby hole, there's no latch. I mean, come on, give me a break. It's not even an air duct. Anybody that works with air ducts knows that it's not gonna dead end into a fucking piece of drywall. It's a continuous fucking thing.
Even the dirt.
Right.
It's just dirt.
I don't know. People are too sucked in to face paintings and theatricals. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. People are too damn sucked, and that's why I'm saying, you got way more resources than we do over here, and that's the kind of shit you're putting out, bro. I'm just done with it.
And these murders have shaken us to our very core.
Let's face it, Moscow police knew right away they were in over their heads and immediately called for help.
We have 25 plus investigators working this case, as well as assistance from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Idaho State Police. We're reviewing video that has been collected, but we are asking citizens to contact us with any information you may.
Look, when you're asking me to, I'm just going to say this. When you're asking me to compare this truck that has 2 fucking windows on it and no cab in the back because you can see the back window, obviously. I mean, look at it. You can see 3 fucking windows there. And when you're asking me to compare it to a truck that has 1 fucking window and you're confusing a cab for the second window on the side, when you look at this truck and it has no cab, I expect better sleuthing. Maybe they need a new hat. Maybe they need a new hat and a new shirt. I don't know. The fumes from wearing the same shit every time, I don't know, gets to their heads. I don't know.
That will help in this
Stick to
investigation.
cooking.
Police
to
held press
cooking.
conferences,
Not
releasing
even
bits
close.
and pieces of information to a community full of people who were living in fear.
We do not have a suspect at this time, and that individual is still out there.
One critical piece of information that police shared, they knew the murder weapon was a knife, but they didn't know where it was or who owned it. Word started to spread around the small town that police were going to local shops, asking about a specific knife, a K-bar knife.
A K-bar knife. AG, when I was parked in the back of the house, no. The lights back there, and that's what I was trying to show with day footage and night footage. Even with the lights back there, here, I'm going to show you this. When I show you this video and you see me turn on my headlights and you see how dark it is above my headlights, that's all you guys, I mean, that's all you will have to even watch. So when we go to this video, all right, when we go to this video, right? Watch the difference of and this is right behind the property. Watch the difference of the light between where my headlights are compared to the rest. That's how dark it is back there. So even if I had my headlights on when I was in the SUV, so I'm sitting up higher off the ground too, okay? Keep that in mind. I'm sitting up higher off the ground. When you see how dark it is, look at how dark it is right there. That's what it would look like, and then off to the right would be the house. If the windows lights are on, or the lights are on inside, they're not going to see you. Think about it like this. If you have a window that looks out and has woods or trees 10 or 15, 20 feet beyond your window, do me a favor. Look outside in the middle of the night and have your lights on the inside of your house, and look outside your window and tell me if you can see past 5 or 10 feet past the trees. You ain't going to see anybody if you have your lights on in the house, or if you even have the little glowing things hanging up. I'm just, when you think about it yourself, you can put yourself there. Look outside in the middle of the night, and you have a light on in your room, and you look outside in the dark when there's trees back there. You can't see nothing. Your vision is not, it can't adjust from the exposure to the light that's inside in your room to the exposure of light that is outside. So your eyes have a hard time adjusting to focus on what's in the dark already. So you're not going to see. So when I back out, or I get ready to back out, you see me turn my headlights on, and you see, look, all you can see is just right there, a couple feet. And that's from my headlights. All right. Yeah. You're not seeing, and there's no street lights. There's no parking lights. There's no lights up there to even illuminate me sitting in my vehicle. So even if somebody came out and they're like, they can see you in you're not going to be able to see nothing. Because the only thing there's nothing back there for lighting except for headlights. So it's just way too dark. No, they wouldn't have seen nothing.
Well,
even of them.
Even when they were demolishing the place, there were people in the background, like in the woods, like, looking, and you couldn't really see them in a picture where they were demolishing the place. But if you focus in, you see figures, 4 figures in the brush, in the woods there, looking. I mean, you wouldn't, I mean, if somebody was sitting in a car, it would even be harder to see somebody. You know, I can just imagine somebody smoking, like you said, see just somebody smoking a cigarette out there, coming home from work and watching these parties and watching these girls and getting, you know, getting worked up. And, you know, it makes sense, you know?
It does.
Right? I mean, you know, there's a lot of people who live in those apartments, you know?
Yeah, see this big tree right here? So like I was showing you guys in that picture from the other view, you would see that tree in the left side, all right? So you got the tree, there's that big tree, it's on the left side of me. Look, just sitting in that parking spot. If I parked where the other car was parked, where you saw that little cleared out spot going down, you would see through, that's what I'm saying. If you were a few spots down and you walked next to these trees, you could literally have the angle, because I walked over there. You literally have the angle to look into the sliding glass door, and you can see DM and DM's door and where the entrance to the second floor living room. You could look in the sliding glass door in Kaylee's room and literally see the door that she would go through just to get in her fucking room. Then you can still see Maddie's room, and you can even see through the window down here at the bottom if you're at the right angle, but there's some bushes and shit there. Like, you could literally see every freaking thing just from being parked in that spot. And you could go a couple over, ain't nobody gonna know nothing because it's just a parking lot. Even if you're coming home or you're out there at 2 a.m, ain't nobody gonna think nothing because I was out there during that time and there were people coming and going in that parking lot. So it's not gonna stick out. You're not going to stick out. You literally could have just walked down a couple feet, committed the crime, walked back up a couple feet, stood next to your car, and somebody that's coming out from their apartment sees somebody there at the same time when the crime took place, but they just think that they just got out of their car and they're coming home. That's how easy they could have slipped out of there. That's why I'm saying it doesn't, if you're going to plan this crime, and you were able to plan the crime on the same night that nobody was doing shit, man, you're lucky. That's what leads me to believe that the person lived in the area, if not at Queen Road Apartments, right over the hill behind this picture. And they saw that there was nothing going on. And that's when they just made the decision then that it was that night that it was going to take place. Echo, it's a green cilantro.
I was just reading that. That's so funny.
That green car.
Yeah, I used to have a green car. I used to have wasn't a Focus. Was it a Focus? Anyway, it was that same color green. I loved it. But you know, CJ, honestly, when I'm looking at that house in the picture that you showed, not to say that BK is absolutely not the perpetrator, but it seems to me, and I think, you know, statistics are that a crime is going to be more likely committed by somebody that you see or who sees you every day or almost every day. I mean, BK, yeah, was he an incel? I don't know, but you know, he wasn't there. You know, he lived in another town. It's not that he couldn't have been creeping on them. He could have on social media. But to me, it seems much more likely that it was somebody who was closer in proximity to them. That's just my opinion.
Somebody that was parked right here because they had to park here to go home. They naturally came upon this shit, and then it became an obsession, which turned into, you know, something more sinister. And the person, and this is why I say an incel, because I feel like it was somebody that continued to go here night after night, day after day, continued to be forced to see it when they were just parking there to go home. It turned into an obsession, which became an intimate relationship to them but they didn't have any idea of what kind of intimacy was going on the other side, because they didn't know the fucking dude was doing it. And I think that's where the passion and the jealousy and the rage came from, was that somebody maybe was the incel that didn't have enough confidence to go introduce themselves like Enon did with a half bottle of cooking oil. I mean, come on, bro. What lady is going to go, oh, fuck yeah, to a half open bottle when you don't even know who she is? Are you dumb? Like, what are you doing, bro? You're going to go, you don't even, like, okay, anyway.
That's what an ass would do.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, what? No, it's mean you were scrambling looking for something, and the last thing you could think about, well, I don't want to give her my new Hot Wheels, so I'm gonna go bring her a half bottle of open fucking cooking oil, and she's gonna go, fuck yeah. No, I doubt it, bro. She's gonna be like, dude, you're a creep. Get the fuck out of here, and throw the damn thing in the garbage because you don't know what he put in it.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is that person, they couldn't even get to the point where they could go introduce themselves. And they kept going home alone, and they were tired of it. And this thing became an obsession. Maybe at first they would come home, sit there in their car for a few minutes and go, man, I would really like to say hi, or man, they're having a great time. And then time goes by and it gets to a point where they're like sitting there, oh gosh, you wore that 3 days ago, Maddie. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's going to know none the wiser, because all they know to neighbors or to anybody at the house is they just normally see that car parked up there all the time anyway, because they live over at the apartments. So nobody's going to know none the wiser. That's why nobody knows how this person left the crime scene. That's why nobody knows, nobody heard anything. Nothing was out of the ordinary. Because everything was normal. The only thing that wasn't normal was the night that the person chose to do the crime, because they noticed nothing was going on, and they went home to their apartment where they had everything ready because they were waiting for that night. And tonight was finally the night, because there wasn't nothing going on. And that's why it took place. And that's why they were able to get out. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were one of the students that just continued to go online school after that took place. Man, I made it out of there. Oh, yeah. I still need to be enrolled so I don't look suspicious.
Yeah.
And then they just finished out whatever and never came back to the area. And now they're kicking it, somewhere else, partying, knowing the dirty secret that they did, and laughing because everybody's about to convict somebody else.
Right. I wonder if law enforcement is considering it. Well, maybe, I don't know.
I'm not saying BK's an incel. I don't want people to get confused. I'm not saying BK's an incel. I never thought he was an incel unless it was in January when MSM was just pumping the shit out of it and I was sucked into it. But I never thought BK was an incel. I'm saying the incel is somebody that is, I'm not even saying BK did it. Does BK live at Queen Road Apartments? No.
Nope.
The incel lives at Queen Road Apartments. That's the difference. Sorry, what do I think about Ann Taylor?
I mean, do you think that she is looking, or has anybody looking into the other people that were living nearby?
How can you? The first 48 hours are so important, especially to witnesses.
Could she
and if
not
people,
get like a?
if people aren't,
subpoena a
if
list
people aren't
of
talking,
people?
if people aren't talking,
No.
how can you get a list?
Well,
how can you get
request people, request from the apartments a list of people who were renting or living there?
I'm sure that was part of the discovery. I'm sure the interviews where they talked to this neighbor or that neighbor or what they said, I'm sure that was part of the discovery. When it comes, hell, MPD didn't even know how many fucking people were out there. So how can you get a list? You know what I'm saying? And then if you have, if you're talking to, if there are people talking, and do you think they're going to give up their friends if nobody's really talking? I don't think so. So and you can't make somebody give you that information if you don't have them in a position where you can make them give it to you. So, I'm sure she's doing the best that she can. And I think she's doing a good job. but you can only do what you can do, especially when the she's asking for simple shit that she should be able to have. And when they're not even giving you that, how much more can you, what more can you do? So
I don't know. I guess what if, and I think this is a awesome theory. But if this is the case, then this person could go undetected forever unless they commit another crime.
it could be 40 years.
Yeah.
But who's to say that the DNA would even match up? Where's their homework? They don't claim to have the homework anymore. So who's to say that if they did run it through they ran it in CODIS first. That's what they first did, and it didn't come up with a match. So I don't know. Do they keep that and then they can rerun it in the future? I doubt they would, because then that would give them egg on their face. Because wouldn't that be some shit? Like, you're charging some dude and then you just run the shit through CODIS again and it pops up as some other person that committed another crime. And then next thing you know, that's why you listen to some of these cases and there's people that have been exonerated on convictions, and you have like sheriffs and shit saying, well, we didn't run it because we didn't think we needed to. And then when the exoneration project actually got the DNA ran and found out it wasn't even the dude and it was somebody else, and they were still like, well, we felt like we did the best thing. Okay. So hell no, they don't want to rerun that shit, because then that could show that they actually fucked up. They don't. They just want to get this dude charged, get this shit over with. Even Steve G said it, and his wife. It's the enrollment. And when you hear what the student says, he's like, yeah, half of them. They said, how many students came back? I'd be surprised if half. It was more than half online. Mm-hmm.
Very heavy. It is a combat knife. It's been used by our troops since World War II, famously by the United States Marine Corps.
So how did police know exactly what they were looking for? In late 2022, that wasn't clear. But what you could easily find out is that anyone could go online and buy a K-bar knife.
And that's very specific. Folks that didn't see it, there's the word, K-bar. It actually is what's referred to as a bastardization of the words kill a bear. And that's how far it goes back. And so the knife was considered to be that robust as a combat knife. You show up with a knife like this, it kind of implies that you're showing up with, say, some level of homicidal intent.
But who says that anybody showed up with that? It could have easily been one of the victims that they were trying to use to defend themselves when the person came in and committed
It
the crime.
appeared police, even with the help of the FBI, had little, if anything, to go on.
Just what happens in the beginning of a case like that, you don't know what's what. You don't know where to go. So you're just trying to stay in the investigative mindset so that once you get that break, whatever that break is that you were alluding to, like what was that one thing, you want to be able to be in a position so when that one thing happens, you can exploit it and you can take advantage of it.
The investigation moved forward slowly, day by day, with few details released. That didn't stop people from talking, though, about the case. There was something about it, and the victims, that seemed to strike people. People seem to have an insatiable curiosity to know who killed Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Xana, and why.
Murphy, you've been a bad boy!
No one could seem to understand how or why this happened to these four people, who seemed so happy, their entire lives ahead of them. They seemed happy on social media, and people felt like they knew them, or could have known them, as if the four could have been their sisters or daughters, or brother or son.
Ethan, let's be pretty! Oh my God,
That made.
And the reason I say that, I mean that it was for protection, is because the person that commits the crime is either going to leave the sheath out somewhere or it's going to be on a belt loop. The reason that I think that it was found next to the victims and it wasn't on a belt, the person that's going to commit the crime is not going to walk in and hold a sheath in one hand and a knife in the other, because they need the other hand that's not holding the knife to hold the person.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Or to push them back, or to make sure that they have some kind of defense. They're not going to have their hand tied up with a fucking sheath. So that's why I say the sheath to me seems like it could have been some kind of protection, because to me, it's the only thing that makes sense why a sheath wouldn't be on a belt or in somebody's pocket or left in a vehicle or sitting somewhere, period.
Yeah, because, I mean, here's the thing. If you have the knife in a sheath and you're going to commit this crime, I mean, you're pulling it out, like you said, with one hand, and how are you going to leave it there? Because when you leave, you're going to put that knife, if that's where it came from, you're going to put it back in the sheath. You're going to automatically know that that sheath isn't there if it came out. You know, if it came off, unsnapped from the belt or whatever. That's what you do.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm saying.
How could
So,
you
like,
miss it?
so if you're going to commit this crime, say you're going to commit this crime and say you don't have it on a belt loop, okay? Say you're in your car or you're standing outside next to the bush. I don't give a shit where you're at. You're the thing that you're not worried about is putting the sheath over the knife while you're inside the property. You're not. You're worried about putting it on when you go out of there.
Yes.
So to say that the person came in there and had the sheath in their hand and then the other hand the knife,
Crazy.
no, it doesn't make sense. To say that they carried it in 2 feet into the, no, it doesn't make sense. The person's going to be walking in there with the sheath already off.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's going to be on a sheath, then I would imagine it would be on their belt loop. And if they're wearing a suit, then they would have left it in their fucking car. They would have left it outside. They're not bringing it into the crime scene.
Exactly.
Just as a general thing, because you don't want to have your one hand tied up. You need it. You're taking on 4 people. You don't even know if you're going to make it out of there before you get to the 4th person. You don't even know, because anything can happen. So the last thing that you're going to do is have one of your hands tied up with something that isn't going to help you commit this crime. That's why I feel like the sheath was part of one of the roommates that had it up there for protection from a boyfriend or somebody. It was protection. It was not the person that committed the crime. It just, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that somebody would walk in there to commit the crime and have one of their hands tied up with a sheath.
Absolutely.
May have been
No.
part of the reason that
Makes
so
no
many
sense.
people took an interest. Amateur sleuths on the internet went searching for leads anywhere they could find them.
Hey guys, Moscow PD. Come over here, talk to me.
Every piece of video, and I'm talking every piece of video, came under scrutiny.
You got your ID on you? I don't. Okay, I'm gonna grab your info just because you got beer and you're walking around with it.
Even students walking around the area the morning of the murders became possible suspects, along with anyone seen near the area.
That's a great
And
one.
remember Hoodie Guy from the food truck? He became the target of online sleuths just for being there, leading police to take the unusual step of announcing who wasn't considered a suspect.
We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime. The 2 surviving roommates, a male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie, a private party who provided rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hour of November 13th.
Did you feel like the amateur sleuth stuff was harmful in this case?
You know, it can be. I know that there are probably a lot of well-meaning people out there who are just trying to be helpful to law enforcement, provide the tips that they saw. The times have changed as well. We have access to so much information and videos and data.
Days and weeks passed without an arrest. Then came Thanksgiving and the beginning of December.
So as this is an ongoing criminal investigation, there's not a lot of new information that we're able to provide.
That was December 7th. A short time after that interview, police revealed the first new piece of information in many days. Moscow police put out a description of a vehicle. It's a white Hyundai Elantra between the years of 2011 and 2013. This vehicle was apparently seen in the area of the King Road home where the 4 students were murdered.
Certainly, it's the biggest lead, I think, from the perspective of specificity, isn't it? You know, I don't know about you guys, but yesterday when this dropped, I automatically retweeted this out, and said that this is breaking news.
That breaking news set off a frenzy and a nationwide hunt for a white Hyundai Elantra. Where was the car and who was behind the wheel? And what clues might that white Elantra hold?
That the occupant or occupants of that vehicle potentially saw, heard, or knows something about this case.
After several days, it appeared the search for that white Elantra was going nowhere. Or was it? It is a white Hyundai Elantra in this photo.
Huh?
It is.
That's the one in Oregon right there.
Yeah, the white Elantra, the search for the white Elantra has still gone nowhere because we still don't have a license plate that identifies it as him. We still don't have BK coming out of the car video. It's just a white car driving around.
Well, they might have it.
Yeah, but we haven't seen it. So
no, we haven't seen it, but they might have it.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too, because if he's claiming he wasn't there when the crimes took place, but he was out driving around, well, then I doubt it. But who knows? Who knows?
So why would they let us all speculate and talk about all this and just withhold it? Then
I think they made a mistake.
Then they're the ones who are guilty of having everybody speculating. I mean, if they have that, what is that going to compromise national security that they can't release it? Bullshit. It's a white Elantra. Give us a license plate and then we'll all shut up.
The community.
Yes.
That's one of the things I was flipping out about last year was I was even flipping out on Birdie. If anybody remember those shows from back then, I was even flipping out on Birdie because they were promoting, hey, we'll sell these devices to all the University of Idaho students. They were selling them for like $18 a pop, something like that. And it's like, Birdie, you can't fucking even donate 20,000, 15,000 of these. Look like a fucking awesome business from the PR that comes from it. You do something good for a community, which is good karma. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't even break off 15,000 of them fucking things to donate them because nobody was getting a reward. Nobody saw a picture. What if there was single moms out there that just didn't go to the store that night because they couldn't find a friend to go with them, and so they had to water down their baby formula or some shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just messed up. It's messed up.
No, man, this white Elantra shit is a distraction. I'm sorry. If they had video, it would be in their best interest to show us that it's BK. That is not a matter of national security, I don't think. It's bullshit.
Yeah, Debre, you should see the collection. I mean, I'm not like I know we've talked about this private driver that dropped off the girls before. I just need more before we go down anymore because I don't want somebody else to become another Jeremy. You know, that's the one thing I don't, and I'm sure we'll see this coming up and how he was affected. It just wasn't cool.
Photographs without license plates and front end damage. Photos of a white Elantra with broken windows and front end damage found abandoned in Eugene, Oregon, started making the rounds on the internet. Oddly enough, police didn't seem that interested and said they knew about the vehicle and were looking into it. Police would later say that the car wasn't connected. Another apparent dead end. Little did the public know that something was developing quite quickly behind the scenes. Police actually had their eyes on another Hyundai Elantra and its owner across the country.
We begin with that breaking news in this grisly murder case. A 28-year-old man, Brian Koberger, is now under arrest in connection with the killings.
The news came right before the new year.
I can share with you that he is a graduate student at Washington State University and has an apartment residence over at Pullman.
So who is Brian Kohberger, the man accused of murdering the 4 students, and what is his connection to them? An expert and some who knew him weigh in. That's next. The murders of Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan changed life on campus in Moscow.
You know, before people were very rowdy, sort of outgoing. Then they just started to keep to themselves a little bit more. The fact that the killer of the homicide may have been someone closely related, it always just throws out a little bit of doubt.
As students finished classes for the semester, the campus had pretty much emptied out.
Maybe half the people show up at best and everyone else is online.
A killer was on the loose, and no one knew who it was, or if he, she, or they were still around. The people who were still in town were on high alert, and so were police.
I came here because it's a safe campus, so it's part of my reasoning for coming here. It's not like a lot of other colleges where a lot of people are out at night and it's really like a really dangerous urban area. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Before Christmas in downtown Moscow, just the sight of a police car made you wonder, did they find him? Police cars certainly drew our attention one afternoon. Around Christmas in 2022, a couple of us here at Law and Crime were hearing that the investigation was intensifying. There had been some kind of break in the case with an arrest possibly coming. It could be days or it could be weeks, but officially, we couldn't get a confirmation. Things in the investigation, at least publicly, were quiet, almost too quiet, but it was Christmas time. Then on December 29th, Moscow Police Chief James Fry posted a video message.
We've received over 19,650 tips. We want to thank the community for all their help and thank everybody across the nation for the help that they've given us.
At that moment, the public didn't know that Chief Fry was keeping a big secret. An arrest was just hours away, so that thank you to everyone across the nation for their help seemed to take on new meaning the very next morning.
A man has been arrested in the Poconos in connection with the murders of 4 college students in Idaho.
His name? Brian Kohberger, a 28-year-old PhD student home for the holidays with his family in Pennsylvania. The FBI and state police surrounded the house owned by Kohberger's parents early that morning.
Mr. Kohberger was taken into custody without incident. The scene was turned over to the FBI evidence response team for processing.
The neighborhood in the Poconos was effectively shut down as police searched the house and seized Kohberger's white Elantra.
I can share with you that he is a graduate student at Washington State University and has an apartment residence over at Pullman.
Pullman is just a 10-minute drive from King Road, yet Kohberger was taken into custody 2,500 miles away. Prosecutors and investigators might have their man in custody, but that didn't mean they had all of the answers they wanted.
Y'all now know the name of the person who has been charged with these offenses. Please get that information out there. Please ask the public, anyone who knows about this individual, to come forward. Call the tip line. Report anything you know about him to help the investigators and eventually our office and the court system understand fully everything there is to know about not only the individual, but what happened and why.
There really wasn't much information about Brian Kohberger on social media, but what could be found raised more questions. The day of Kohberger's arrest, I found an Instagram account in which he appeared to follow Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves. The account appeared authentic. He followed others with the name Kohberger. Law enforcement won't comment on the authenticity of the account because of a gag order. That account was later removed. Then there was the survey directed to ex-cons posted on Reddit, asking questions such as, how did you feel when you committed a crime? How did you travel to and enter the location that the crime occurred? And why did you choose that victim or target over others?
I don't think a degree in criminal justice helps anyone get away with murder.
Josh Ferraro was in biology class at DeSales University in Pennsylvania with Brian Kohberger. One detail that seemed to stand out about Kohberger's time at DeSales, his time in a class taught by Dr. Catherine Ramsland.
I have a class in
Dangerous Minds that I teach at the undergraduate and graduate level, and that is really about extreme offenders, which is mass murderers, spree killers, and serial killers.
Dr. Ramsland is a world-renowned expert on serial killers. Most notably, she wrote a book with Dennis Rader, The BTK Killer.
His fantasy life is what propelled him. He was thinking all about these things and imagining himself as one of those elite serial killers.
I've interviewed Dr. Ramsland a couple of times about other serial killers, but to date, she isn't commenting on her former student, Brian Kohberger. But a student who was in Ramsland's class with Kohberger told me he remembered him speaking to her and another professor in a superior manner, as if he knew more about the subject matter than she did. The former student said Kohberger didn't participate in any of the extracurricular activities, such as the Criminal Justice Club.
I don't think he's the smartest guy in the room. I don't think he's amazing. I don't think he's super special. He definitely has some intelligence, but so does everybody else at DeSales.
After the new year, Kohberger appeared in court in Pennsylvania. The attorney who represented him for the proceeding told me Kohberger initially waived his right to counsel and agreed to speak with police after his arrest. But then he asked for a lawyer.
I mean, his family's distraught. They're shocked by the arrest. They are in constant contact with him still. I believe they're talking daily on the phone.
Monroe County Public Defender Jason Labar represented Kohberger for 4 days in Pennsylvania.
He was engaged with the conversations. He was aware of what plans I had, and he was good with everything that I laid out for him, including the statement of him being exonerated.
As Kohberger touched down in Idaho to answer to the murder charges, the evidence police claimed to have against him would become more clear. A probable cause affidavit described a detective finding a tan leather knife sheath stamped K-Bar USMC on it, next to Maddie Mogan's body. That's how police knew what the murder weapon was. Testing of the sheath revealed a single source of DNA from a male on its snap. The affidavit said agents pulled trash from the home of Kohberger's parents and found it was a 99.9% certainty the DNA on the sheath came from someone who was the biological son of the person whose DNA was found in the trash, meaning Brian Kohberger's father. That revelation raised questions. How did investigators know where to look for Kohberger's DNA?
Genetic genealogy was created by the citizen scientist community. It didn't come from traditional science or academia or forensic science.
C.C. Moore is a pioneer in the field of genetic genealogy, where DNA and genealogy have been used to crack cold cases. Think the Golden State Killer in California. Genetic genealogists like Moore take a DNA sample and use databases to build family trees.
We are typically working with a dozen matches, 24 matches, even more. And we're trying to connect to multiple branches of someone's family tree. And that is where we're able to really narrow it down.
We later learned the FBI worked with Othram Labs to develop the profile that led to Kohberger.
For instance, in this case, if they were able to connect matches to his father's side and his mother's side, that would have led them directly to him.
We also learned more from body camera footage. On December 15th, 2022, Brian Kohberger and his dad were on the move, driving from Washington to Pennsylvania.
Hello. How you doing? How y'all doing today? Good, good.
At this point, it doesn't appear that Brian Kohberger was on law enforcement's radar, at least not officially. That would happen about a week later.
He was right up on the back end of that van, pulled you over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay.
Jason Labar told me that Kohberger and his dad making that long drive from Washington to Pennsylvania for the holidays was a trip that had been planned months in advance.
Driving for hours. Hours, days. Hours. Driving. Well, almost a day.
That deputy let the Kohbergers go with a warning, but 8 minutes later, Brian Kohberger and his father were stopped again. The FBI would later say that those 2 traffic stops in Indiana had nothing to do with the murder investigation in Idaho.
Hello, I am Officer Langus. Stops being audio and video recorded.
Koberger actually has a history of being pulled over. Just 1 month before the murders, a Washington State University officer stopped him.
You know why I stopped you? You ran the red light.
What actually happened was I was stuck in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah,
so
I was
forced
behind
to
you the
turn
whole
left.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We later found out that Koberger had actually tried to get an internship at the Pullman Police Department that fall. He said in his application he wanted to help rural law enforcement agencies better collect and analyze technological data. He didn't get the job. Pullman Police won't say why, and the department will not release his application. Koberger was a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University and a teaching assistant. Following his arrest, police searched his office in Wilson Short Hall. Some students described him as a harsh grader. Former friends said Koberger struggled with a heroin addiction in high school, but he eventually got clean. He also struggled with his weight, but took up running late at night, according to friends, and dropped the weight. A neighbor at his apartment in Pullman told me Koberger was certainly a night owl.
We heard, we heard loud sounds during the night.
Yeah.
Many times. Like clean the floor, sometimes vacuum. It's very loud sound.
Moscow police said the night of the murders,
This video
Koberger
has it
was
all.
definitely up late. His cell phone records showing he left his apartment at 2:42 a.m. His car spotted by several surveillance cameras driving toward Moscow.
A&W.
Then from 2:47 to 4:48 a.m., there was no activity on his cell phone. Prosecutors say that 2-hour time period covers the time when the murders happened. Koberger's late night habits will become important later. Up next, more on the case against Brian Koberger and how he might challenge it, along with where the case stands as the victims' families try to move forward as they grieve.
Thank you, everybody, for hopping in. Please hit the like real quick if you haven't yet. We'll be getting into the Q&A segment here in just a few.
As Brian Koberger made the flight from Pennsylvania to face the 4 murder charges, questions surrounded his involvement in the crime. And his arrival drew a crowd at the Latah County Jail.
Well, we come over here a lot and stuff, and it's just scary, going out in public, not knowing who's around you and what they're capable of doing and stuff. This guy looked like a typical person, going to college and stuff, and turns out, he did this horrendous crime.
Koberger was booked into the jail, the sheriff holding him in isolation for his own safety and accommodating his strict vegan diet. The details of what police claimed happened that night in November 2022 sounded like something out of a horror movie. The probable cause affidavit claimed Koberger's white Elantra was seen circling the area of the house in the 30 minutes before the murders, and that shockingly, one of the surviving roommates saw the killer, a man with bushy eyebrows wearing all black, his face covered. She said that he walked toward and past her after hearing what she thought was Kaylee Gonsalves playing with her dog upstairs. Then she heard someone crying and a person saying, "It's okay, I will help you."
According to one of the surviving roommates, the murderer went upstairs first to a specific bedroom that belonged to Maddie Mogan. So does that lead us to believe that maybe she was the target and the others would have been collateral damage?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think that's a proper conclusion, I think, that can be drawn from what we know right now.
Sadly, Kaylee's parents would later say she had moved out of the King Road home and went back to Moscow only to spend time with her friends that weekend and to show off her new car. The killer, if he indeed went to Maddie's room first looking for her, may have been surprised to find both Kaylee and Maddie in the room, and then surprised again to find Xana still awake downstairs after getting her DoorDash order at 4 a.m. Police said cell phone records showed that Brian Koberger had been in the area of the King Road house a dozen times in the months before the murders. He was even pulled over in August, a couple of miles from the house. But after the day of the murders, Moscow police said Koberger's cell phone records showed he never returned to Moscow. Less than 2 months after the murders, Brian Koberger was in a courtroom in Moscow, listening to the charges against him.
The maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Prosecutors later announced they were seeking the death penalty.
And Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Koberger prepared to plead to these charges?
You want to reveal what the standing said?
Judge John Judge entered a not guilty plea on Koberger's behalf. His defense team's efforts to have the indictment thrown out failed.
Well, honestly, I think they really have an uphill battle on the defense of this case. Everything that we know right now seems to point that he's the one who committed this crime.
Attorney Tara Malik says the case against Koberger is compelling.
The knife sheath that had the DNA on it, that knife sheath was found underneath one of the victim's bodies. Now, the job of a defense attorney and a good defense attorney is to look at all that evidence and to find where assumptions were made and leaps of logic were made.
Even Jason Labar, Koberger's public defender for a few days in Pennsylvania, agrees. The state's case looks convincing from what we know now.
It's a strong circumstantial case.
However, Labar believes the case is defendable.
But the evidence, when it's viewed individually, you can attack that evidence as a defense attorney. But if you take the DNA evidence that's recovered from the sheath, for instance, I believe that to potentially be touch DNA, transfer DNA, which would mean that it could remain on that sheath for an indefinite period of time if undisturbed.
Forensic death investigator Joseph Scott Morgan on the sheath.
It would be clicked over and over again to get access, and it's just kind of actuating the snap.
It's important to note the public doesn't know the source of the DNA on the snap of the sheath.
If it is touch DNA, which is generally associated with dead, sloughing skin cells, this is a perfect place to harvest it from because it can actually be caught in this location and kind of protected in that area because it's...
Yes, protected in that area. Like they just said, it could be there for who knows how long.
Exactly.
It's in a protected area. That's why I keep saying, who says that, who says, what if it was a gift from BK? Who says BK didn't know that Kaylee was a sleuther? Or, knew she was a sleuther, wanted to do something nice. Hey, I got 4 of them. How about you have one to protect yourself in case, you're getting into some you're getting into some ugly shit. And no, don't carry a weapon around or a gun or something. Here, have this knife, as protection, just as some kind of friendly gift. I mean, who knows? Who's to say that BK didn't go pawn the damn thing and one of their friends went and bought it at a pawn shop?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then there's no connection there at all. What if you went and sold it to a pawn shop?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what his explanation is because we don't know. But I mean, it makes sense to sleep. Like, there's a lot of times I sleep with a dagger.
I mean, he might not ever know. As far as he knows, maybe he just pawned the damn knife off because he had 4 of them. Maybe he just pawned it off because he didn't need it. He needed a couple extra bucks because he was a college student and maybe he was a little short on money one month and was like, you know what? I got 4 of them. Why don't I just go pawn it? Or why don't I sell it to somebody on Facebook Marketplace? Or sell, and then it got sold to somebody. It's that simple where he might not even know. Yeah, I sold it to Jim Boy, and Jim Boy then sold it to Johnny, and then Johnny gifted it. I mean, who knows? It could be that when we're talking about the protected area where it was at, it's not like it was on the top. It's not like it was along the side. It's not like it was in any of those places. It's a protected area that it could have been there quite a long time. So that doesn't mean, and just because, okay, maybe if you had the weapon, maybe if you had the weapon, then yeah, damn straight, the sheath.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to say, well, they were unalived with a sharp object, there's different, I mean, we've shown different sharp objects. Who's to say, that none of that was used? There, and like everybody keeps saying, that is just because the sheath was there doesn't mean that's the weapon. That's why I continue to say I feel like it could have been a gift. Just when you look at why the sheath was even there in the first place, why would it be there? Because one of the victims had it in their hand. In the other hand, while they had the knife in their hand, because they didn't need to, they weren't thinking about using the other hand to push somebody away, because they were thinking about, shoot, if I don't need this, then I can put it back and be safe.
Right.
That's why the sheath was there. That's why it was by them, because I feel like one of them did have it in one of their hands, because they heard sounds. They didn't know if it was a friend or not, so they didn't know if they needed to use it or not, but they were ready to use it if they had it in their hand. But if they didn't need to, sheath was there, they could have put it easily away. I think the person that committed the crime took the weapon as their own souvenir for a celebration of committing the crime. So, they're laughing, in their little secluded spot where they're protected. They're laughing, going, I not only got away with this crime, but they get to look at the K-bar that somebody was trying to use to fight against them, and they were successful. So they're looking at that knife as like a piece, like a prize to them, because it's like, you know what? Not only I committed this crime, but they can sit there and look at that knife that they took and replay it even better than an article from the crime scene. Because think about it. If they're saying that the sheath, they're not even entertaining the idea that it could have been used for protection from one of the victims. So who's to say that that person is going to get in trouble for being able, they probably have it on a shelf in their living room. That's how they're, they're so, because nobody's, how is any good, when it comes to an ID or it comes to an article of clothing, well, son of a bitch, that'll look odd. That'll tie it right back. But with the knife, not if they're thinking that the person that committed the crime used it and they're about to be on trial. They're not going to associate that knife at all with the crime scene. So that's why I'm saying they could put it up there like they're hanging a fish, except there's a K-bar up there, and every time they're sitting there at home, they're watching Jeopardy, and then they look up and they can relive the crime every single time they look up during a commercial.
That is horrifying.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Absolutely horrifying.
When you focus on one thing, you don't even focus the possibility that other people can be involved either. And you just have that tunnel vision, and that's the other cases we've brought up before on the show, the tunnel vision. You don't think about these things. You really have to think about it. Why in the hell would a sheath have been there in the first place? You think somebody that committed the crime really walked in there and held it in their hand? No, they went in there to use it. So why would they need the sheath for protection of it? They don't. They went in there to use it. Somebody that would need it would be somebody that didn't know if they needed to use it or not. That's why it was it. Just me.
No, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, yeah, if I were going in there, I wouldn't have, if I were going in there to commit the crime, I would not even have, unless I had it on my belt, I would not even have brought the sheath in. What you gonna need it for? Nothing.
No, because you already know that you're going in there to use it.
Right.
You already know. So why do you need it? No, you're going to put it... If it's not on your belt, you definitely don't want to lose it, do you?
Right.
If it's not on your belt, you definitely don't want to use it. That's why I'm saying somebody that went in there to commit it wouldn't have brought it in there with them. Because Why are you going to use one of your hands when you need it? Because you don't know if you're going to make it out of there when you're going against 4 people. You don't know that you're going to be successful all 4 times. What happens if on the 3rd try something happens and then they end up with the knife? You know what I mean? You don't know that. You don't know that. So you're going in there to use it no matter what. So you don't need the sheath.
Right.
You don't need it.
And even if it's on your belt and you leave, okay, you've done your business and you're safe and you're leaving, you would be looking for that sheath to put the knife back in. So why is it, you still have time. You can go back. You're like, shoot, I left it somewhere,
Mm-hmm. Well, and like this too. You heard the noises come from upstairs. The sheath was upstairs. Then you heard the noise come from the 2nd floor. Now, and then when you're going on DM's statement, she says that the person walked by and she saw the bushy eyebrows. There's only one way you can walk by and see eyebrows and open DM's door. And that the only way that's possible is for somebody to walk through that walkway next to the good vibe light sign and DM be able to see through the cracked door. And she said that they walked towards the sliding glass door. She didn't say that they walked back upstairs. So if somebody did commit the crime upstairs, lost the sheath, went downstairs to commit the rest of their crimes because there was 2 left, went downstairs to commit the rest of their crimes, then why didn't DM state that the person went back upstairs? Because if they would have forgot the sheath, they would have even if they didn't know where they lost it. It's only in a couple spots. You just got done on the 2nd floor, so you can search. Okay, shit, I didn't leave it here. I'm going to go back upstairs, right? To search, because that's the only other place it could have been. No, they didn't go search. They left. So to me, that's another thing to me that says, no, that sheath was not part of the crime, because if they would have forgot it, damn straight they would have walked back upstairs to go look.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to leave it behind if you did lose it. No. To me, the sheath was from one of the victims that they were holding when they had the knife in their hand because they didn't know if they needed to protect themselves or not. And for them to be so tunnel visioned on the sheath, being that's the murder weapon, even though we don't have the weapon and we have all these different statements from the coroner about the injuries. Okay, well, it's pretty obvious if it was the same weapon, right? Then don't you think the same type of injuries would have taken place? Don't you think if it was only one weapon, they would have been able to come out and say, we know for sure it was a knife that was this long, this many inches, yada, 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 because you hear about it in all these other crime shows.
Yeah.
They tell you how many inches on average with the knife that they're looking for, from this inch to this inch.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get none of that. You get different statements about the injuries. So to me, to sit there and be so tunnel vision that you're looking for or you're interested in a K-bar, what about being interested that was one of the victims that they had for a defense, and the person that committed the crime took the trophy and put it up on their wall like a fish?
Mm-hmm.
That's for somebody to get, with all these people that do these crimes, they usually take an article of the crime so they can relive the crime when they're away from it, right? What better article from the crime would be than like a knife that nobody thinks is tied to anything but the person that committed the crime that they have charged? Like, that's the best part, because it's not a clothing, it's not an earring, it's not a necklace, it's not a phone, it's not nothing. It's something you could literally hang on the damn wall and nobody could. You could comfortably put that on your wall and know that your ass ain't never gonna get caught. You could bring it with you. You could walk around with it and pull it out and relive the fucking crime while you're on Santa Claus's bus going through the North Pole. You know, like, that's sick.
Yeah.
And they're so focused.
That is horrifying.
it doesn't make sense. The sheath, it just doesn't make sense that the person that committed the crime left it, especially even when you look at DM's statements even. That doesn't tell you the person forgot something.
See, it makes me wonder what people think when they come into my house and they see my knives and swords on the wall.
Hey.
Yeah, that.
What did you do with that?
Over here on this side of my wall, I have a bunch of books on serial killers and all kinds of stuff, awful stuff. The Rancho Mirage, they drank the Kool-Aid, the cult. I have all kinds of stuff over here. People looked over here, they would be.
She's messed up.
The body parts, everything.
Yeah.
Damn, Yoli. Well, you should get that. You should get that in your camera view sometime too.
Yeah, I'll move my desk this way and you can see all the shit. And I read them all.
Yeah, I used to have that. I used to have like nothing but a bookshelf of, books on individual crimes, Gacy, the whole 9 yards. And then, my family said, that's kind of morbid. What's wrong with you? Why do you have this? I'm like, because I look at them, I reference them. But eventually I felt like, especially when I got rid of them a while back, because I didn't want my kids to be worried. And I didn't want them to pick them up and read them either when they were younger. So I don't have any of those, but I do have my collection. I love knives and swords and weapons, and I have them on my walls. So because people think I'm weird.
I don't have none of that. I just got my pistol. So other than that, yeah, we don't have no katanas.
I've got a katana. It's right over here.
Yeah, we don't have none of those over here. All right. So, speaking of 3 days after the crime takes place, this is when they hold their first press conference. 11/16. And we're going to be getting into the Q&A part of the press conferences now. We're not going to be, when it comes to this part, this will be a part 1. We'll be doing a part 2 and some case discussion on the next one too. Now this one, the first one, this is when they all got together. Now with what we're doing, we're not going to be listening to these statements at first. We're going to just skip across all that. And we're just going to listen to the questions and the answers that comes from the reporters that are in attendance at these press conferences. Because I think, like I've always said before, I'd never really wanted to do any kind of deep dive on the press conferences because obviously they obviously just bullshit. So really, you're just going to be sleuthing bullshit, I don't, even though sometimes you have to work on a pig farm and shovel shit, it's not preferable, right? And I don't prefer to do it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to listen to the Q&As, and then we're going to see because they're good questions, not only the questions, but we're going to watch how they answer them, the words that they use, the expressions, the body movements. That's what's going to tell us the truth in these press conferences, not the bullshit they want to spew to us in the beginning. When they're being asked questions that they don't know what question is going to be asked and they're put on the spot, that's when your body is not going to fucking lie, even though you want to. So that's why we're going to be going through these parts. It's the Q&As of all the LE press conferences. And we're going to go ahead and get into that. First of all, though, we're going to give away a coffee cup. Silky, you don't even have... I think you have to be using StreamYard for this, but I'm not sure. You'll have to try it sometime. Okay. What? We're going to give a coffee cup away here real quick. This is a StreamYard giveaway tool. Okay. So all you have to do is you have to go to the website. I can share it with you. And then you click on your live. You have to be live when you go to do this. You click on your live and then you just type in what anybody wants to hashtag to be entered in to win whatever you choose to give away. I'm giving away coffee cups, customizable coffee cups that has everybody's logo of their name or whatever they want to have, along with the Evil CJ Show logos, and even down to the colors that they want. It's totally customizable, something I like to do, and something I think goes along with the show because I love coffee. Why not give away coffee cups? So if there's anybody in chat right now, and I'll go ahead and we'll wait like 4 or 5 minutes if you want. Hashtag capital PPP if you want to enter to try and win a coffee cup. I would mash the hell out of it if I would type it a few times, because you never know if it gets entered. You know how buggy StreamYard is. So if you are interested, I would hashtag capital PPP a few times, however many times you want. I don't give a shit. You can spam it if you want, just to know that you got entered. I'd rather have people be entered in for sure instead of some kind of glitch or something. Now, if you have won a coffee cup already, shout out to the winners that have won. We got Yvette, we got Yoli, and we got Katrina from last night. If there's anybody that has won or will win in the future, if you do win, you do get excluded from the drawing, even if you hashtag PPP, because I have it set. So it just won't even count for you. I want to make sure every time we give a coffee cup away, it's to somebody brand new. So hashtag it. We'll wait 2 more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and hit the drawing button, and then we'll see who wins the new coffee cup. So if you do win the coffee cup, make sure it's capital, Silky. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I would just capitalize it. So now, if whoever wins, all you have to do is do me a favor, send me the details of where, and then I need to know what color of logo you want for yourself. If you want your name or your YouTube name or whatever you want, let me know. I need to know your 2 favorite colors. And then you will have a completely customizable cup. All right, we're going to about 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then we're going to hit the drawing.
This is cool. I know EVMux has like integrations that have a spinning wheel and a couple of things for drawings, but I don't think it has. I think it's limited to the number. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can have as many as you want in this thing. You could have. I've seen when StreamYard did it, because I first learned it, and then when I first learned you could do it on StreamYard, I did it the next night. I gave a coffee cup.
Wow.
I was like, hell yeah, I can finally do giveaways, and why not give away coffee cups? All right, so we're going to wait about 45 more seconds, and then we're going to hit it. And I will do the countdown.
I look like
30.
I have a red mustache from me blowing my nose.
Aw.
Oh my God.
Do you got Vicks?
Somewhere, but I can't find it. Who knows?
Yeah.
I've got some peppermint oil. I put that on a while ago, but I'm not sure that didn't make my face redder. I'm not sure. Ugh.
Oh, well, I hope you feel better. Everybody's sick nowadays,
I know.
It's worse than it's been. It's like COVID again, getting crazy. All right, 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and 0. Here we go. And then it just automatically goes through anybody who's entered.
Wow.
All right, here we go. Who's going to win it? Teresa.
Yay!
There you go. Do me a favor. You can DM me on any of these links here. Evil CJ, one word, at Discord, Twitter, or evilcj@gmail.com. And like I said, let me know your 2 favorite colors. Let me know if you want your YouTube name, your personal name, whatever you want. Let me know. And then I will take a photo of it, send it to you, make sure it's exactly what you want. And then once I hear the words, it's perfect, then we get it done and we get it out there. It does take a little while. It takes about a month and a half for the completion from the production to the doorstep. But I think once they get through these holidays now, I think it's going to be a little quicker now, because I'm thinking all of these other ones were right before Christmas. So the time limit was extended. So I think the next ones are maybe be cut down to like a 3-week to a month period for that. So thank you so much for being part of the show. I appreciate it. And do me a favor, like I said, let me know your 2 favorite colors, and we'll get it done for you. Thank you so much. All right, now let's get to these Q&As here. And thank you all for joining.
So at this time, I'm going to open it up to some questions that I'm sure you have, and we'll do the best we can to answer those for you.
Congratulations, Teresa.
Hello, Chief Ray.
Hello.
Thank you for having us. I'm Amanda Rowley with Creme 2 News. You mentioned that there's an indication that it's an isolated, targeted incident, and there is an individual somewhere. Can you give us a reason as to why there's belief there is a suspect? And can you also give a little more information on the forced entry? There's no sign of forced entry, but was the door, did it seem like any of the entries were left unlocked by any means?
I'll answer the last part there just because it's at the front end of my mind. We're not 100% sure if the door was unlocked, but there was no damage to anything, and the door was still open when we got there.
And my first question,
Yeah.
if you'd like me to read.
No, I think I haven't. In these cases,
He tried to get away with
take the totality of the things that we see, and they're very dynamic, right? And they're very big, and there's a lot of information, and we try to take that information, and some of it we can't share with you, correct? But we try to take that information, we try to make the best educated decision we can. We review that as a team with our detectives, along with our prosecutors, along with the university, to try to make that best decision on that. So we, at that time, believe that there was no a threat, and our goal is to provide safety for this community. That's why we're bringing in the resources we're bringing. We want a close to this, and we want to do everything we can to let the people in our community know that we care. We want them to feel safe. We want them to be safe, and we're going to do everything we can to do that.
And if I could add one more question. You asked for videos or anything from the community to help put together that timeline. We obtained a copy of Twitch video, and family members of the Gonsalves family were able to identify Maddie and Kaylee in those videos at a food truck ordering food. Is the police department, our investigators, aware of that video, and has it helped put together that timeline?
We are aware of that video, and it has helped. It gives us a time and space where we know that 2 of our victims were, and that helps us a ton, and we'll continue to follow up all leads that we can and continue to gather those.
Any indication of a party at the home that night?
And this will be the last one, okay? I understand. Not that we know of, not at the home. We know that the other, let me get the names exactly right here. We know that Zaina and
bro, you've had 3 fucking days. Bro, this is 3 days later. You've had 3 days to get to know these names, and you got to look at your damn piece of paper? How much are you invested in this case 3 days later? If you don't even, you gotta look at a damn piece of paper to fucking read the names. What? And your first name was Zaina, which, let's be honest, that was the hardest one out of all of them.
Yeah.
And you're gonna say that first without, you're gonna, Zaina. Oh wait, hold on. Let me get my paper.
Yeah, that's kind of insulting, you know? You should know. You should have had that memorized.
Wow. 3 days later, this is your first frickin' press conference. And 3 days later, you gotta look at the damn piece of paper. First, I'm surprised you let her get away with that many questions. I thought after the first two she asked in the first batch, he would have went to somebody else. I'm surprised he didn't go to somebody else. He just kind of let her control the press conference. That was interesting. Maybe it's just inexperience. Yeah, that's that clip on. He's answering questions without answers.
Yeah.
We're going to take the totality. There's a lot of information. Some of it we can't tell you, but we're going to break it down. Bro, you've had 3 days already. This is like you just showed up at the crime scene. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Let me look at
it.
Hold on, let me look at this. I got to make sure I get the names right. And you're like even saying that. Like, why don't you just look at your fucking piece of paper and not tell anybody that you got to look at a piece of paper to get the names right? Why not just look at the piece of paper? And saying you got to look at a piece of paper, it's like I'm standing there watching you outside. Hold on a second. Looking at your little fucking notebook. Wow. Oh, you must be on delayed. Hit refresh. Not all. Hit refresh. Maybe I have to do that before we do these giveaways, is may remind people to hit. Well, you won't even. Well, I guess if you're delayed, you won't hear me say refresh for the giveaway anyway. I don't know. Aw. Oh, that's too bad.
Ethan, we're at a different party on campus. But that timeline will still help us if other people know about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, they still need other people. They still need to know more about it.
Chief Wright, John Webb with KHQ. On September 12th, there was a vandal alert that was sent out about a potential stabbing threat on Paradise Path. Does this have any connection with what we've seen so far?
Not that we know of it, but we're following up every lead. Every piece of information we get, we are following up to ensure that nothing has gone unturned. We want to have the individual identified, who is the suspect of this eventually. So we are literally looking into every aspect of everything.
And you guys have said repeatedly that there's no threat to the public, but we don't know who the suspect is. We don't know where he's at. How is there no threat to the public at this point?
Well, that's kind of an unknown. Like I said, we took the information that we had at the time, but we do need to be aware the individual is still out there, right? We need to be vigilant. We need to watch out for our neighbors. We're a community policing community. We've said that for years, and it's a community that watches out for each other. We need to continue to do that until we can close this off and make an arrest.
Why has there been such limited information over the past couple of days? I mean, we're almost 4 days into this. Why has it been so limited?
Yeah, it's a difficult. We have a lot of information coming in, and we have tried to push out some information through press releases, but the reality is, I probably should have been standing here a day or so ago.
Yeah.
You putting out with press? Yeah, because you're hiding behind a keyboard. Wow. You know what? Let's watch that again, everybody. Let's watch that part again, because he didn't say a whole bunch right there. He didn't really say a whole bunch right here, but I want to see. This is what we need to watch. We need to watch, because he's not in that uncomfortable position right now where he just had to answer the truth that he should have been there a day or two before. All right. Mm-hmm. This is what we need to watch. Let's watch how he answers the question as he's finishing here. Let's look at his here. Let me switch this up. I wish this here. I gotta see if I can change. I don't know why. There we go. Let's go with this. There. So we're like totally zoomed up here. All right. So now let's watch how he talks, answers, and then let's see the change when he gets asked the question and has to answer. Yeah, honestly, I probably should have been, even though we've put shit out on Twitter and Facebook and shit, we probably We probably should have been here a day or two ago. Yeah, you should have been, bro. Somebody should have been at the fucking parking lot when this shit was happening.
Yeah.
They wanted this humongous multi-million-dollar new police department because they needed to hire more people, but you didn't have anybody hired to handle press. Don't you get press even if you are at the smaller building? So when you have room, don't you think you would have one anyway? Or if you didn't, at least the chief would be talking to you. Because anytime you see any of these other press conferences about cases, do you not see the sheriff? Do you not see the chief? Do you not see the head person? Of course you do. So why wasn't he standing there?
Right. And I mean, even if someone was out of town or whatever, I've seen a lot of press conferences in the very beginning where they really don't know what's going on, and the press conference is like really tiny. They just, state the facts. This is what happened. These are the victims.
Even
and,
if they
we're
don't know
working
much.
on it at this time. We don't have any more information. Bye, see ya, something.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Like, he should have been out there, period. There's no reason he wasn't. All right, let's watch his body movements here. You doing okay, Yoli? Let me get rid of this here.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're
I'm
on mute.
I'm on mute.
There
Yeah,
you
I'm fine. My dog just has diarrhea. That's it.
Okay, sorry about that.
So
Oh, good night, Harsh. Thank you.
that's all.
I was looking at U of I comments on Facebook right after the homicides. People were PO'd. Yeah, they were upset. Yes, they're not saying nothing. Nobody's saying nothing. Why haven't we heard nothing? This is this crime and brutality goes way beyond normal. Like, why are you not saying nothing? People were freaking scared. I mean, you go look at the Facebook, just from the people, like she said, replying on their freaking Facebooks. That's the real shit. It's sad. All right, let's watch how he acts here, and then let's watch when he actually admits he's late to the game.
Continue to gather those.
Any indication of a party at the home that night?
And this will be the last one. Okay, I understand.
He's giggly.
Not that we know of.
He's
not at the home. We know that
glowing.
the other. Let me get the names exactly right here. We know that
sure is
Zana
blinking
and,
a lot. It takes you that long. Look at that. It takes you that long, man.
We're at a different
And
party
he's
on
looking
campus.
down
But
and-
Right.
that timeline will still help.
He said Zana first, and then he's like, and Ethan, really, dude? You've been studying this for 3 fucking days, and Ethan, what does Ethan sound like? Licorice? No. Like, what the fuck are you I'm sorry. It's just, yeah, it's that clip on. It's that, you can see I know, I can see the dust from here too, you guys.
Help us if other people know about that.
Thank you.
Look at him, look around.
KHQ. On September 12th, there was a vandal alert that was sent out about a potential stabbing threat on Paradise Path. Does this have any connection with what we've seen so far?
Not that we know of.
Yeah, guess what? Somebody else that was dressed in black that had a knife, y'all. Somebody else that was dressed in black that had a knife. That's why in the beginning of this case, when it first happened, I thought the person was on a damn bicycle, riding on the Paradise Path.
Well, this
going
dude,
back
this
to their
guy-
dorm.
This guy too has a Jimmy Neutron hairdo.
Yeah, I know. You know what? When we first saw this, when he first said it, I automatically thought, I bet this dude wears like some kind of hair cap when he goes to bed. That's what I thought. Like, he probably has that hair cap that way when he lays on, he has to lay on the pillow a certain way. You know, he can. Hey man, sport it. You know what I'm saying? Sport it. That's like some politician hair right there. You know, sport it, bro. You know, if If you got hair like a politician, wear that nightcap. You know, have that pillow on the back of your head where you barely have hair, so it doesn't, create any kind of unevenness on it. So, yeah, that I did think that though. I was like, nightcap.
Yeah. And like my hair, I look like a Sasquatch. So
Whatever.
clearly
Well, I
I don't
have
use
my
that.
hair up.
I know at first, Yoli, I was like, did she chop all of her damn hair off? And then I'm like, oh no, it's up.
No, it's just up.
It's just up.
HQ. On September 12th, there was a vandal alert that was sent out about a potential stabbing threat on Paradise Path. Does this have any connection with what we've seen so far?
Not that we know of it, but we're following up every lead. Every piece of information we get, we are following up to ensure that nothing has gone unturned. We want to have the individual identified, who is the suspect of this eventually. So we are literally looking into every aspect of everything.
And you guys have said repeatedly that there's no threat to the public, but we don't know who the suspect is. We don't know where he's at. How is there no threat to the public at this point?
Right.
Well, that's kind of an unknown. Like I said, we took the information that we had at the time, but we do need to be aware the individual is.
He did. Did you see that? He is so uncomfortable. He doesn't even finish his own fucking statement. Oh, shit.
Well,
he doesn't even finish his own statement. He skips a puddle 3 times. What the hell? And then changes again, and then changes again. Watch this.
Stabbing threat on Paradise Path. Does this have any connection with what we've seen so far?
Here's one.
Not that we know of it, but we're following up every lead. Every piece of information we get, we are following up to ensure
now he's
that
making a different
nothing
statement.
has gone unturned. We want to have the individual identified, who is the suspect of this
hold on.
eventually. So we are literally looking into every aspect of everything.
And you guys have said repeatedly that there's no threat to
Right
the
here.
public, but we don't know who the suspect is. We don't know where he's at. How
Good
is there
question.
no threat to the public?
Good question.
Well, that's kind of an unknown. Like I said, we took the
Number
information that we
2.
had at the time, but we do need to
3.
be aware the individual is still out there, right? We need to be.
Yeah, let's change the subject. Let's change the subject of why this is a question that we have been asking your fucking ass this whole time. How in the hell do you come out and say the community has nothing to worry about when you don't even know how the person left the scene of the crime? At least if you knew if the dude headed south, you could say, okay, everybody in the north, you're probably good, but you couldn't even do that. Good question. He just skipped it. Well, we need to be vigilant is basically what it is.
Well, CJ, they did the same thing at Delphi. They had no idea, and they're like, "Oh no!" When the citizens were, saying, "I'm afraid to let my kids out and play because, obviously this was 2 young girls that, were the victims," and the sheriff, Lazenby, is saying, "Oh no, you're safe. You don't have anything to worry about. The community's safe." Well, how the heck do you know unless you were there?
You don't even
How do you
know
know?
how they left. You don't even know how they left. How do you know that they're safe? No, it made no sense. No sense.
It's just like, let's put a Band-Aid on this huge gaping wound and say, "Oh, it's okay, y'all, don't worry."
Yeah, just be vigilant, everybody, and continue to call in with your tips. Stay vigilant. Stay aware. Wow, this is so. The first damn one. This is why I wanted to watch, because I'm not going to listen to the bullshit you're going to spew, Mr. Fry, that you're going to put out for PR. I want to hear the real fucking questions, just like this dude.
Individual identified, who is
real
the suspect of this eventually. So we are literally looking into every aspect of everything.
And you guys have said repeatedly that there's no threat to the public, but we don't know who the suspect is. We don't know where he's at. How is there no threat to the public at this point?
Well, that's kind of an unknown. Like I said, we took the information that we had at the time, but we do need to be aware the individual is still out there, right? We need to be vigilant. We need to
What a
watch
joke.
out for our neighbors. We're a community police.
I'm sorry. If there's anybody out there, that thinks that we are like Ellie bashing channel, that's not it. It just sounds that way because we talk about this case the most because it's the most fucked up, and Ellie is one of it. And if this doesn't prove to even to the people out there that are so gung ho about it, if that don't prove to you,
And yeah.
this is a press conference and somebody's asking you a legitimate question. Why are you telling the community there's nothing to worry about when you don't even have a suspect?
And he says
And
it's
you
unknown.
don't even answer the question. You fumble.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and say, you guys need to be vigilant. And then he comes to the point and admits, I should have been talking to you a day or two ago. If that don't tell even the most supportive motherfucker of Blue something's fucked up, I'm sorry. That's why people like us, it's not about bashing a certain organization. It's about bashing the bullshit because we want the truth and justice. We need to knock off the fucking the hard shell that they want to put around the truth and justice, and we're going to smack against it. It has nothing to do with who the shell is. It's what's inside of the fucking shell. So if these people are going to be shady, we're going to be smashing on them. If it's family members of a victim that are being shady, like in some of these other cases, we're going to smash on them. When it's anybody that's not being about the truth and justice, we're going to smash on them. It's just the way it is. It doesn't mean that if this doesn't show even the most supportive that something was fucked up, bro, you should have answered that question, because that is what the community has been asking for 3 fucking days while they've been waiting for you to stand in front of a microphone. Why are you telling the community they have nothing to worry about? And you
So-
can't even answer it.
Does he explain why he didn't tell the community sooner, or why he didn't talk?
I don't
to the
know. We'll
community
see.
sooner?
We'll see. Let's get to this one. We'll let it play on. He might have. I don't know.
We need to watch out for our
I
neighbors.
literally haven't watched this since 11/16, so it's gonna be like a fresh notes, old notes kind of thing where I might even, holy shit, I didn't remember that.
We do need to be aware the individual is still out there, right? We need to be vigilant. We need to watch out for our neighbors. We're a community policing community. We've said that for years, and it's a community that watches out for each other. We need to continue to do that until we can close this off and make an arrest.
Why has there been such limited information over the past couple of days? I mean, we're almost 4 days into this. Why is
Good question. Good
That's
question.
a difficult. We have a lot of information coming in.
It's a difficult.
We have tried to push out some information through press releases, but the reality is, I probably should have been standing here a day or so ago, but I'm here now. We're going to continue to be here. We're going to continue to give you the information we can. We care about the.
You know how this is what he's doing. He's answering every fucking question, letting you know how hard they're working, and letting you know that nobody has anything to worry about, and letting you know that you need to remain vigilant and aware. Like they're asking, I remember when we were watching these, I remember back then going, these are great questions, and they're not answering these damn questions. Why are they not answering them? They just, I probably should have been here a day or two. But I'm here now. Okay. Yeah, I was late to the game, but I'm here now. Hey, coach, sorry, I missed the first quarter, but I'm here now. It's cool. No, the coach is going to say, sit your fucking ass on the bench, and you'll be lucky if you're coming in.
Yeah.
And you show up at the second quarter in a crime, but I'm here now. And I should have been here a day or two ago. But you know what? We just need to remain vigilant. You know, we're working as hard as we can. We have a lot of information to go through. It's the same shit. They're not answering nothing. These are great questions. Whoever this dude was, I don't know. He's got great hair and great questions. Shout out I don't know. I'll figure out a nickname for you soon.
Continue to do that until we can close this off and make an arrest.
I'll figure one out.
Why has there been such limited information over the past couple days? I mean, we're
I
almost
just
4
said
days into
nightcap.
this. Why has it been so limited?
That's a difficult. We have a lot of information coming in, and we have tried to push out some information through press releases, but the reality is I probably should have been standing here a day or so ago, but I'm here now. We're going to continue to be here. We're going to continue to give you the information we can. We care about this community. I care about this community.
Yeah, you
I've
do.
worked here for 27 years. I want.
You worked
this
there for
community to be the
27 years
safest
and you showed
community
up 3
around.
days late,
So,
bro.
The mayor's called it a crime of passion. Is there any indication that that's true?
We're looking into every aspect of this. I'm not going to stipulate whether it's one thing or another. We're going to continue to investigate until evidence will get that. So,
One last
somebody else?
question, if I could.
Whoa, hold on. That was just chopped up. Hold on a minute, because I got different sources of the same press conference in case this shit happened. Hold on.
Evidence will get that. So,
One last question, that's true.
So
we're looking into every. I probably should have been standing here a day or so.
I just got to see which question he's asking, because I got to go to a different source and see what the hell was cut out. Watch.
Ago, but I'm here now. We're going to continue to be here. We're going to continue to give you the information we can.
Hold on.
We care about this community. I care about this community. I've worked here for 27 years. I want this community to be the safest community around. So
The mayor's called it a
You wanna
crime of
keep it
passion.
going?
Is there any indication
Crime
that
of passion.
that's true?
Okay.
we're looking into every aspect of this. I'm not going to stipulate whether it's one thing or another. We're going to continue to investigate until evidence will get that.
Yeah, that just cut out. Okay, so he asked about crime of passion. Give me 1 second. You all sly motherfuckers. Hold on. So we're going to go to 11:16. I knew this was going to happen. I knew I was going to come across some of these that might be chopped up. 11:16. Crime of passion. So we're going to go to the city of Moscow's feed. Hold on. Let's see here.
He's news reporter
This is,
again.
let's see, where is Chief? Okay, there's Chief Fry. So this is a different view here. Hold on 1 second.
And investigation resources brought to bear, just because it's at the take the totality of, but we try to time both, and we want to
line.
Ethan, we're at it
on Paradise Path. Does this have any connection with what we've seen?
So we are literally looking into every aspect of everything.
Okay, I think this
You guys
is.
have said repeatedly that there's no threat to the public, but we don't know who the suspect is. We don't know where he's at. How is there no threat to the public at this point?
Well, that's kind of an unknown. Like I said, we took the information that we had at the time, but we do need to be aware the individual is still out there, right? We need to be vigilant.
This is not a different one. It's just a different camera view because it's a different source. The question where the shit cut out here is coming up, and then we're going to go back to the previous because I like how they switch it from the reporter sometimes back and forth.
We need to watch out for our neighbors. We're a community policing community. We've said that for years, and it's a community that watches out for each other. We need to continue to do that until we can close this off and make an arrest.
Why has there been such limited information over the past couple of days? I mean, we're almost 4 days into this. Why has it been so limited?
What's up? Nothing.
That's a difficult.
Lucille?
We have a lot of information coming in, and we have tried to push out some information through press releases, but the reality is I probably should have been standing here a day or so ago, but I'm here now. We're going to continue to be here. We're going to continue to give you the information we can. We care about this community. I care about this community. I've worked here for 27 years. I want this community to be the safest community around. So
The mayor's called it a crime of passion. Is there any indication that that's true?
we're looking into every aspect of this. I'm not going to stipulate whether it's one thing or another. We're going to continue to investigate until we have the facts, because really it's the facts that will drive what the cause of this is. And as we gather evidence, we'll get that. So
one last question, if I could, Chief.
They've had 3 days to gather evidence. So is that what was cut out from this version?
I mean, how could you say this type of crime was not a crime of passion, even if it wasn't a love thing, even if it was revenge or whatever. I don't think you can do what you did in that house
Right.
and not be a crime of passion. So they're asking him. He's like, "Oh, I don't know. I just we don't have the facts." So yeah, it is.
Dude, you've been investigating it for 3 fucking days already, and
I
you
mean,
should
you
have
can at
way
least
more
say
answers.
that.
I mean, maybe not. I mean, but it would be kind of obvious. 4 people, it was something. But maybe that I could, I can see why they might not want to answer that, because think about it. What if it was a hit? You don't. Well, then you're not going to say, well, then the community's safe. The community's not safe. Anything that you do say, the community has even more of a reason to ask, well, why are you telling the community that they have nothing to worry about? And that's the one hole they don't want to fall down. That's why anytime he's asked that, because he was asked multiple times from the same person, that same question, or a different way to ask it, because he wasn't getting his question asked. And that's the hole they don't want to fall down, because that's the hole they could never recover from. There's no good reason that you could come up with that if you're going to go based off the evidence, there's no good reason that they could come up with an answer to sit there and say one way or the other, because then they're falling down that hole of that they can't recover, because they're not going to be able to give any reporter any good reason why the community has nothing to worry about, but that doesn't fit the crime. That doesn't fit the crime. It doesn't fit 4 people. It doesn't fit the way that supposedly the crime scene was. It doesn't fit the way that the victims' families talk about the autopsies. It doesn't fit. So then they would just be putting themselves down an even bigger rabbit hole, because not only they couldn't answer it in a way that would not bring more questions about the community's safety, but then if they did lie about it to answer the question, then that's really a hole that, you got a rabbit hole, and then you got a hole that ends up out on the other side of China, and that's the hole that ends up on the other side of China, is lying about it. All right, so they took out that little part about what they've been doing here.
One thing or another, we're going to continue to investigate until evidence will get that. So,
One last question, if I could.
I don't know why they cut it out, though.
Have we
This is the University of Idaho's version, so I don't know. Maybe that's why.
looked at any boyfriends or any ex-boyfriends, any spouses as a potential suspect?
I will tell you, we are looking at everyone. Every tip we get, every lead we get, there's no one that we're not going to talk to. There's no one we're not going to interview. There's no one that we're not going to look into. And we're going to do our due diligence. We're going to make sure that nothing goes unturned, and that we do everything we can with the assistance of all the resources we have to get a final answer.
Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, he was in a
there were
spot
sorry,
where
I'm
there
not
was.
really with this book, sorry.
He was in a spot where there was no cell location. That's why nobody could reach him. They had to have somebody drive out there to him to let him know. Ain't that crazy? But it doesn't mean nobody can have a vacation. All right, so this is going to be the next part. I'm surprised he's letting these reporters ask so many questions and not going to different ones, unless, I don't know, there's 15 more minutes, so maybe there was a lot of reporters that got questions in. It'll be interesting.
I'm Emma Epperly with this book's review. Hi. So there were other roommates who lived at that residence. Were the roommates home at the time of the attack?
There was other
was
people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them. We're focusing on everybody that
Sorry, I
may
missed
be
it.
coming and go.
He just doesn't answer the question, and he changes it into something else. She asked him, were the roommates home when the attack took place? He says something for a couple seconds and then changes to it's all, wow, man. He don't know shit. I think, oh man.
Then just say it. Like, I don't know what's going on right now, but I'm going to get back to you as soon as possible.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
be honest.
it makes me wonder, like, if somebody. It makes me wonder if Lanier. It makes me wonder if Lanier was trying to run the investigation at first, and this is because to wait 3 days. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that first day. I'm thinking like Lanier. Wouldn't Lanier have been the next person in charge with Chief Fry being gone? I'm thinking. I mean, is there any for sure date and time when Fry did get back into Moscow? Because I'm thinking maybe with how clueless he is and how it's 3 days later, I'm thinking that Lanier was thinking, since Fry was out, Lanier was like, I'm going to handle this until Fry comes back. Tried to handle it for the first day. The second day comes up, right? And then is like, shit, man, this is just too much. Hey, we need to get a hold of we need to get somebody to go out and get Fry. We can't get a hold of him on his phone. We need somebody to go get Fry. So somebody had to drive to go get Fry. And then Fry came back, had to get briefed on whatever was going down because he was out in seclusion land. He didn't know shit until he just got back, and he was probably hearing it from a bunch of different people. So that was another day of him, hey, I can't come out and have a statement when I don't even know what the hell's true because I'm getting information from so many sources. So then it took him another day to figure out a little bit about maybe what was going on. So then the next day he could actually have a press conference, even though he didn't know much because it was still confusing. He still had to have some kind of press conference because you can't wait another day, right? And that's the only thing that makes sense why it took 3 days to have a press conference and why he's sitting there barely even answering anything, which you should be able to, and turning the question into a statement. He's not even answering the question, and then he cuts it off and then makes a statement about the community or about how hard they're working. I mean, I don't. To me, it sounds like he don't know what the fuck's going on. He doesn't know. He has no idea. I mean, I'm sure obviously he knows more, Pamela, but what I'm saying is when you have a community saying, why are you, okay, there was a reason why you said the community's not safe. What's the reason, right? If you're telling the community, otherwise you wouldn't say you don't know if you don't have a reason, right, people? If you don't know, you don't have a reason. If you know that the community's safe, or if you know that the community is not safe, you have a reason. So if you're telling the community that there's nothing to worry about, you have a reason to give to the reporters, because every community member that pays and funds your ass to protect them deserves to know the answer to that question. Because if you're telling me that a crime took place and you're telling me as a taxpayer, a member of the community, that I have nothing to worry about, well, then you should be able to tell me, especially if I have nothing to worry about. Because the only time you wouldn't say would be if there was a reason for the community to be worried. Look, community, you need to be worried. We can't tell you why because it's close to the investigation. Please just continue to be worried. Now, if you're saying, community, you don't need to worry, here's why you don't need to worry. Because the killer's outside of the state, because of this, or whatever reason you came to. That should be the easiest answer to tell the community and the local reporter. That's why it makes no damn sense.
Yeah, I mean, even just saying, which I think, didn't he say it was a targeted attack? But did he say
They went
it
back and forth.
Yeah,
It was back and forth.
I mean, if you wanted to really make people safe, you would say, "Oh, we don't know, we don't know everything, but we do know from the evidence that this was targeted towards these individuals, and basically everybody else is safe." I mean, even if you have to make it up, I mean, but you got to give a reason. It's this
It's got to
You know,
if
oh,
you
you're
can tell
safe.
them that if you can tell them that they're safe, that should be the easiest reason to tell the community.
Yeah. I mean, you got to give me a reason, not just, oh, well, I know 4 people just passed away here, but you're safe. Yeah, really? How? Why?
Right? That should be the easiest.
Yeah.
If you know especially to the community that funds you, that just bought you that multi-million-dollar police department and that cool gym and all that space that you can store all those bags that are filled up with crunched paper. We got to make it look full, boys. And do me a favor, go do an Office Max run right before the camera crew comes. So that way we have all these boxes of paper just laying all over the place like we have nowhere to store them. Because we're making all these reports. So we need all this printer paper. Bullshit. If you ain't making reports, why you need 10 boxes of fucking printer paper? When Office Max is fucking 3 blocks down the street, man. Shut up. No, I know you're not disagreeing, Pamela. I know you're not.
What about the lotion, the corn husk lotion? They have that ordered too.
Oh, I'm sure they have their I'm sure that's next to the blood dryer now.
It's like every corner they have corn husk lotion. It's
Yeah.
like,
They got they because they got into the multi-million-dollar complex that they have for a PD now. They probably have their own storage room for it, They moved up to industrial.
Video
Yeah,
ever.
they moved up to industrial. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is a freeze for 2024. I wouldn't be surprised if they buy the product where you have to dilute it. You know what I'm saying? Like they get it at the industrial rate where it's condensed and you have to dilute it in order to have the real product, I bet they go that far where it's dilute, it's concentrated. It's concentrated.
Like every nook and cranny, you see that corn husk lotion, and then
they use
at
it.
the end of the video, you see this big jug.
Yeah, with the body lotion pump, it's like.
It's like, it's just, oh dear! Like at first, I thought it was because of the fingerprints. Maybe when they put ink on the fingerprints, they have to like clean them or something. But then it's like you see it in different rooms, and it's just like, whoa! I don't know. Never mind.
Hey, I don't know. I just think of that pump and having to do this. But hey, it's Moscow. It's cold there. It's dry. You might need it.
I'm just gonna keep.
Because you gotta think about
this to myself.
Just think about it. Your hands get cold and they get crackly if there's not lotion on them, and they start to hurt and split. You don't want that. You don't want that. All right. Let's see here. Let's get to her first question again here that he doesn't answer.
I'm Emma Epperly with the Spokes Interview. Hi. So there were other roommates who lived at that residence. Were the roommates home at the time of the attack?
There was other people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them. We're focusing on everybody that may be coming and going from that residence.
So since they were home, was it a hostage situation?
No, it was not.
And then they didn't call it into
I'm
police,
sorry.
so were they injured?
I gotta stop this real quick. Crime Solver says they use the #1 brand name bottle over and over, but they continue to put the generic. Oh shit! I appreciate you, Crime Solver. You're always coming in here.
Dollar Tree. It's the Dollar Tree version.
Yeah, just make sure you get the green. We can't mix the green with the red, okay? We got to get the green. Just get the green. It don't look right if you mix them together. Then people will know. They'll find out. Oh my gosh.
They didn't call it into police, so were they?
Can you hide that shit?
They were not injured.
Rewind this. Hold on. Oh fuck.
Injured?
Whoops.
They were not injured. Just on them. We're focusing on everybody that may be coming and going from that residence.
So since they were home, was it a hostage situation?
No, it was not.
And then they didn't call it into police, so were they injured?
They were not injured.
Great questions.
But like I said, we're still following up with everybody that could have been in that area.
And how can you say it's a targeted attack if you don't have a suspect?
Great question.
Like I said, we take the totality of the situation. We try to make the best bit of information we can with everything that comes in, and then we make our decision off of that. So at this time, I'm not going to expand upon that. But like I've said, we do have a suspect out somewhere.
Why wouldn't you tell the community why they have nothing to fucking worry about?
Exactly.
But did you hear what he said? He said, we do have a suspect?
Yeah. I was just going to say.
Right off the bat. But why are you... you're not answering the question again, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be.
Targeted attack if you don't have a suspect.
This is so
Like
ridiculous.
I said, we take the totality of the situation. We try to make the best.
And then you don't want to tell us, though.
Bit of information we
Watch.
can with everything that comes in, and then we make our decision off of that. So at this time, I'm not going to expand upon.
You're not going to
that.
expand.
But like I've said, we do have a suspect out somewhere, and we are looking
Somewhere.
for that individual
Somewhere.
to solve this.
Well, our suspect
Yeah.
is somebody somewhere.
Yeah,
There's
and
a person
you...
somewhere.
Yeah, you do have to look for them to... yeah, I mean, well, yeah.
There is a suspect somewhere, so I don't think the community has to worry.
Somewhere, because they didn't go to fucking Mars, people. And I mean,
Well, you know
they're
what?
somewhere.
I
Mars
mean-
is still somewhere.
I guess you could say some of it is nerves, but a crime like this, you would be more prepared, I would think.
And you would be able to tell the community why they have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
But you're going to sit there and say, well, like I said before, we've gathered the information, and based off that information, we've came to a conclusion. And I'm just not going to tell you guys why we continue to tell you that. The University of Idaho's influence. Chief Fry. We don't need our students scared. I mean, hell, you heard from the student in the thing that we watched earlier. I'd be surprised if half of them came back because they all did online.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of them. Fry, the more students that are scared, you guess what? You know why Fry didn't say the community had something to worry about, never answered the question? Because I bet you University of Idaho would have been 96% motherfucking online. 96% of those students would have been online, and the other 4% would have been the ones that couldn't afford and had to live in that kind of atmosphere because they didn't have the opportunity like other students to travel home or to even miss a class, right? That's sad. They were so worried.
I do think there can be a lot said that he probably is nervous. He's not used to this kind of thing, a press conference, and this was a huge, crime. I think there is a lot to be said for that. However, he should have been prepared to just give that, that answer
3
that everybody
days.
gets. We can't relate. We can't release that information that is, we're investigating this, I can't answer this right now. It's under investigation. You can give those standard crap answers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead, it's like he tries to BS his way through it, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, and it just
doesn't
makes
work.
him look bad.
Yeah, I mean, just tell the truth. I mean, just be an open book. Like, if it were me, I'd just be like, hey, man, I was out of town. I came back. I'm sorry. I'm here. I'm going to get this person. We're going to get this. We're going to do whatever we need to do. And, I wouldn't lie. I mean, I wouldn't say, like, I should have been here 3 days ago, but I'm here now. Okay, so where the fuck were you 3 days ago?
Yeah.
Exactly. And to come out here 3 days later and answer questions with statements about the community being vigilant or that you've collected all of this information and you're not going beyond it's just like, why didn't you put out a reward? Why didn't you put out a picture of the vehicle? Why didn't you put out a picture of the suspect with bushy eyebrows with a fucking ski mask? At least somebody would have known the shape of their damn head.
That's the first thing you do is put out information that you know of.
You would know the shape of their damn head. And you would know the shape of their eyes. Who gives a fuck if they got a mask on? At least you see the shape of their head and you see the way that skinny eyes, squinty eyes, eyes that are spread apart, eyes that are close together, eyes that, you know what I'm saying? Something. And then it's just like this. You ask why, and and another one is, why could you continue not to answer the same question that every reporter is asking you in your first press conference 3 days after the crime took place, when it came to what you've already made a decision of, in which there should be no reason why you couldn't tell anybody? Why are you telling the community they are safe? What made you come to that conclusion? Because there's nothing with that information that is going to tell somebody, or that's going to risk exposing part of the crime. Why can't you? The easiest fucking question, the question that the community deserves, the question that the people that pay your fucking salary deserve. This is why, because they know the university's influence, it was already happening. It was already happening. You don't think students book the next fucking day? Shit. They already knew the avalanche that was coming. Fry knew if the community had something to worry about, or if he answered that question, he knew that the students would be freaked out. The community would be freaked out. The students ain't going to come back. You only have half your income. The community might move the fuck out of there. And then all of a sudden, you done lost your job, bro.
Yeah.
You done lost your job. That's why he couldn't answer that question. He would have lost his job.
That's probably true. You know, something else, I was looking at the comments, something else that bothers me about this and other cases, the word bushy. I mean, it's been used,
What?
if you look at,
bushy.
yeah, if you look back at other crimes, and I can't think of the woman who unalived her 3 little kids, or, you know, tried to in the back of her car. This is like a long time ago. What's her name? Y'all probably know. You know, it was a bushy-haired stranger. It seems to me that the word bushy is used in cases where people are maybe not telling the whole truth. It's like it's like a word that is, you know,
Suggested.
yes, and
That's what I think all of these answers and statements in the PCA are, is suggested questions.
Yeah,
These girls lawyered up right away. They ain't answering shit.
No.
And that's why I've always said, who says that's the first time they talked to him? That could have been a phone conversation that they had with Dylan on the 3rd time they talked to her.
Yeah. This bushy, it just bothers me. Yeah, Susan Smith maybe did, and I know before her there was another woman, can't think of her name, but yeah, it seems like bushy is kind of the descriptive word that, you know, breeds terror or fear.
Clad in black.
Yeah.
Clad in black, you know.
Yeah, so to me, this is almost, and I'm not saying she's lying, okay? I'm not saying that.
No,
But
she
when
just got done watching, like, Game of Thrones or something.
Yeah, it seems like it is a very typical description of someone who is nefarious or scary looking, you know. Yeah, you're going to be wearing black. Bushy eyebrows. Well, that's subjective. What's bushy? Does she mean wide? Does she mean
Captain
like long
Kangaroo
hairs?
has bushy eyebrows.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
For real, but Captain Kangaroos, those are bushy.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, this description, and I mean, maybe he did look like that, but to me, that almost sounds like something you're just making up. It doesn't.
Especially when it's used in a different part of the PCA. It's almost like the person that interviewed or wrote it suggested that question.
Yeah.
Even it just clad in black. That's the first time I read it. The PCA. I was like, "What? Was somebody watching a medieval movie or something? Like, where in the fuck do you even? Where do you even come up with that? Clad in black?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, that almost, makes you think burglar because they're coming in at night
But
and they're trying
clad? Who uses
I'm
the word
burglar.
clad? But clad. I didn't even. I never even heard the. Listen, I've never even heard the damn word before this freaking PCA.
Really?
Fuck no. No, I've never heard the word clad. What?
It was clad in
I don't watch medieval shit. I'm not into it. I'm not. It's boring to me. Swords and
I don't know.
mud. Okay, cool. What? What?
I love medieval stuff.
Listen,
Um,
their outfits are cool. Yeah, guess what? If I wanted to go to a club, I would go to that kind of club. I'm not interested in it. So,
but yeah,
I'm just saying, I'm into ladies. Classy.
Not so much the black clad leather stuff.
I don't. Well, I mean, not every day. Not every day.
Wow.
Not every day. That's in the cave. That's in the cave. That's the
That's
cave
a
kind of shit.
special occasion.
Yeah, that's the cave kind of shit. That's not out in the daylight.
I mean,
Out in the daylight, it's like you gotta. Yeah.
but clad in black, it's maybe it's a thing.
Maybe.
I've never heard.
I don't know.
I just
never
think
heard.
I just think that bushy is overused in cases where the person who is describing somebody totally knows it's a big fabrication. Okay? And I'm not saying that, that what came from Dylan, right?
Yeah.
And you're right. She could have been led or suggested, to make that statement. I mean, I don't know. It seems like so routine for crap.
Somebody
just
that's
generic
inexperienced.
BS.
Somebody that's inexperienced. Think about this. You got kids that are lawyered up, or young adults that are lawyered up right away. You don't think that they already got advice? So then you mix that with a inexperienced investigator that's going to do some witness statement questioning. Now you got somebody, let's be honest, if they didn't call for 8 hours, they weren't wanting to talk to your ass anyway.
Yeah.
They're lawyered up, and then you have one of them asking you a question. Do you really? I don't think they're going to answer shit. They're going to be like, I'm not talking to you, bro. Talk to my lawyer. I'm not talking to you, bro. Talk to my lawyer. Okay, well, can you at least tell us if did they have skinny eyebrows? I don't know. Talk to my lawyer. Did they have thick? Were they bushy? I don't. Sure, dude. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they were bushy. Sure, dude. I don't care. Talk to my lawyer. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm tired of you asking me.
And
That
you know
could have
what-
been right.
You know what's crazy is if DM gets up on the stand and she doesn't say what's in the PCA, she doesn't testify to what's in the PCA because she doesn't want to be charged with perjury. She says something different.
Maybe
She
that's why
said-
neither one of them want nothing to do with it, because they
Correct.
know that when they get on the witness stand, their statements in the PCA are going to be torn to shreds, and then they're going to look like the fucking bad guys for BK
Yes.
getting off. That's why they don't want to, because they already know they're going to be used as scapegoats.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen if their statements on the trial in the stand, if their statements don't match what the PCA states, and then what happens to the PCA, and then what happens to the case,
And that's the thing about
and then who
about-
gets blamed?
Yeah, it's about
girls.
like I'm sorry, I'm going back to tearing down the house. That's the thing about a trial is so many things could happen that you may need that house for something. Like already they're deciding like, no, we don't. And it's like, you don't know what people are going to say. Like people ask me, oh, are they tied to that timeline? Well, they're only tied to the timeline insofar as there are credible like videos with timestamps that haven't been altered. Otherwise, in terms of the witnesses, no, the witnesses could change their testimony at any time. You're assuming a witness is going to say what you think they're going to say, or in civil cases, you take their depositions and you know what they're going to say, but they could change their testimony. And then you have to say, so you were lying in your deposition? Yes. Why were you lying? Because I was scared. And then they bring up some shit, and then you're like, what the I mean, it's so fluid. It's like, why would you ever destroy something that could be possible evidence when trials are so unpredictable, unless this trial is going to be predictable.
It is.
They already have their guy. It's all been set.
I've been predicting what the hell's been going on with this damn thing. You know what I mean? I'm telling everybody, like, the court hearing before the court hearing and all this other shit. Like, it's so predictable. It really is. It really is. And it's sad because it's, you know, people want to make fun of me when I'm telling you, like, my mind is like I'm gonna keep saying it. It's the best way it's tiles, 1,000 tiles all over and they're just constantly flipping until pieces fucking fit.
Yeah.
Because my mind is constantly going through probabilities and percentages and what is logical and what makes sense and what leads to this and what leads to that, because I already have a mind that's already thinking 3 steps ahead based off of 2 of your reactions. I even think about what your reaction is going to be when I'm thinking about my step, and then I'm thinking 3 beyond that. I'm even breaking down the opponent's reactions and possibilities and then going steps based off of those. And so when you're looking at this and you're putting it all out there like that, and you got all these tiles flipping around and they're just flipping until they start matching because you're going through percentages, then it's like none of it is just making any damn sense. And it's been from the very freaking beginning right here. They can't even tell you why the community is not safe when they told you that you were safe. They can't even tell you. They should easily be able to. And they can't.
Yeah, targeted attack if you don't have a suspect.
Like I said, we take the totality of the situation. We try to make the best bit of information we can with everything that comes in, and then we make our decision off of that. So at this time, I'm not going to expand upon that. But like I've said, we do have a suspect out somewhere, and we are looking for that individual to solve this.
Hi, Rachel Sun, Northwest Public Broadcasting. I just want to clarify something you said earlier. Over the past couple of days, the information that we've been getting is there's not a threat to the public. And earlier I heard you say you can't be sure that there is no threat. I just want to clarify what your stance is on that.
Yeah.
So we still believe it's a targeted attack. But the reality is there's still a person out there who committed 4 horrible, horrible crimes. So I think we got to go back to there is a threat out there still, possibly. We don't know. We don't believe it's going to be to anybody else. But we all have to be.
There's still a threat out there, possibly. Possibly 100% there is, because you don't even know where the fucking dude's at, and you don't know if he's staying 2 blocks away and is going to do it on that night that you're having the press conference.
Oh, they know, CJ. They've got a suspect somewhere. So
He just answered. He just fucked up. Because right here, she asked him what the stance was on if it was real, and then he tells the community every reason why they should be worried. He tells you.
What your stance is on that.
He tells you.
So we still believe it's a targeted attack.
Possibly.
But the reality is there's still a person out there who committed 4 horrible crimes.
Still out there.
So I think we got to go back to there is a threat out there still, possibly. We don't know. We don't believe it's going to be to anybody else, but we all have to be aware of.
Yeah, so based off of the crime, they know that it was just these 4 people, and they're not going to go do this to anybody else. What fucking person unalives 4 people and never does it ever again if they're free? What? Oh my God.
Of our surroundings and make sure that we're watching out for each other.
Okay, and then one other follow-up. I know you said when the call came in, it was for an unconscious person, and also that was a stabbing. It seems, just from an outside perspective looking in, like that would be not.
Yeah,
the
I know
first
it's tough
thing
for you, buddy.
A person
It's
calling
tough.
in would think.
You're right. But the report that we got was that it was an unconscious individual. It wasn't until our officers arrived on scene, went in to do caregiving check on the individual who was unconscious, that we found the scene that we found.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Heather Roberts with ABC News.
Yeah, because I probably wouldn't be surprised if DM walked out of her room and started puking and then had to go downstairs to where Bethany was at, and she fucking passed out from fucking puking, and Bethany didn't know what the fuck was going on. That's why when the police first came out and said both roommates were downstairs, that's what I think took place. That's who I think the unconscious person was for. It wasn't for anybody upstairs. It was the fact that DM finally got out of her fucking room and she couldn't do nothing but fucking puke. Ran downstairs and fucking passed the fuck out from the scent.
Yeah.
Now, maybe who says Bethany wasn't the one that called? They said it was from a friend of one of the roommates. So who's to say? That story about, because there was a long, when we heard this shit a long ass time ago, I don't remember the source, but they sent me some shit in the beginning of this case, and they said that based off of this social media stuff that I was getting, that one of the roommates ran out and fucking passed out outside of the first floor, and the other roommate was the one that was talking to the friends that showed up, because let's be honest, they probably used social media to get their friends over there. Their friends showed up. The suspect video of the suspect video, who knows? What I'm saying is the other friend showed up. Bethany couldn't articulate what she was trying to say or get out of her mouth. She probably didn't even know. How are you supposed to describe that smell even? You can't.
Yeah.
So then that's when somebody probably went in there and started looking around and said, oh shit. So yes, they showed up for the unconscious person. The unconscious person was probably DM, and they had to probably give her some smelling salt to wake her up because she passed out and fainted because of shock. Smelling salt, they probably had to wake her ass up with it because she wasn't waking up. Shock. Your body shuts down. Your body shuts down. So that can, Bethany can be shaking. Hey, wake up, wake up, wake up. She knows she's still breathing because your body just don't stop breathing. But your mind, your awakeness goes to sleep. It's like a coma, but not a coma. And why do you think they make smelling salt? To wake people up from from passing out. That's what it's meant for. Snap. You wake up.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is University of Idaho's version. But I'll share both links with you because we use both of them tonight, so you guys can have them for yourselves too. University of Idaho and then the City of Moscow version. But this one's better. It actually goes to reporters, to him, and it has a lot better clarity. Oh, well. I thank you for hanging out, Silky. I'm sorry you got to go. Hopefully you feel better.
I did.
Get some good rest.
I'm like fading fast.
Yeah.
I'm freezing and all that. But I want to say to anybody who is streaming, like you're on my channel, I'm about to undo this because I didn't last time, and it was like way later, and I'm like still streaming with CJ. So get off of Silky Southern Tea and then just go to Evil CJ. Yeah, look at me. I look like half dead.
Oh, you look great. Whatever. I can't even tell you're sick, please.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Like,
It's good. No, you look
anyway,
good.
It was
Just get
good
some
to
rest.
see y'all. Yeah, I am. And, again, it's a little bit early, but happy birthday, CJ.
Oh,
and it's
thank
good
you.
to see you, Yoli, as always. And we're going to have to do something again. And CJ, come on there, too. Let's talk about newspapers.
They did a show. I will for sure next time. They did to everybody. They did a show together over on Silky's channel. Go check it out. It was like a week ago, right? About 5 days ago, something.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Very strange.
Yeah, definitely go check it out.
It's
Silky
always
Southern
strange
Tea.
on my channel.
Let me see. I'll drop her link as well.
Okay, Silky, get some rest.
All
Yeah,
right,
get
I
some rest.
will.
Hopefully you feel better.
All right.
And thank